Can you send me?
Hi everybody! Welcome back to my lovely players and to our audience. We had a nice long break to enjoy the holidays and to get some new games prepped. If you haven't heard already, New York by Night will be going on a little bit of a hiatus for a short time so that we can explore a new setting and have some fun with new characters. Namely, we're going to be playing New Orleans by Night. Like New York, I'm basing the game off of the old VTM supplement book, and our players will get to explore the World of Darkness version of the birthplace of jazz. Additionally, this time around, my lovely crew of PCs have been given the opportunity to make much older, more experienced vampires. Now that they've gotten to actually know VTM more, I trust them to have a little more fun in this game. Their kindred creations are easily ancillary, if not younger elders, for everyone who understands VTM terminology. That just means they've been around for a long time, at least a century, if not two, and proven themselves in kindred society, with a few more disciplines and backgrounds at their disposal as well. Tonight we're going to do a little exploration of their characters and the city, finalize some character details, and even let them test the waters of their new faces, get to know their fellow coterie members. But first off, let's go around. How is everybody doing? How are the holidays? How's everybody feeling? Chat, go ahead and tell us too.
I am doing fantastic, thank you.
I'm on time, so I'm doing good.
That's always nice.
It's a solid thing to have for something like this. We do have here, I want to introduce Hopelessentree. She has been on the channel before in one-shots and during our Anarch game that took place on Fridays last year over kind of the fall. We had a lot of breaks in it. If anyone has followed New York, Articus has taken a little break from the game. He has lots of real life stuff going on. Still loves you all, of course. Hope is going to be joining us instead this series of vampires. So how are you doing, Hope?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Don't worry, the spotlight gets dimmer over time.
Hey, Spirit.
Uh-huh.
Not that I
And I.
Not that I mind playing someone named Luther. I mean, we are.
Oh, that's right. Goodness, I was sorry. I was still fixing all the cameras.
You guys shouldn't have said anything and just gone with it. Elvish, you are now Luther. Chocolate Bear, you're Dina?
Dinah.
No. Chocolate Bear, you are now ElvishDame. ElvishDame, you are now Chocolate Bear.
There
You
you
must
go.
change your usernames.
I mean, we always, ElvishDame always had that Malkavian character. She wanted to test out the whole being other people. Yes, Slender Panic. I was working a little bit on my Louisiana accent, so we'll see how well that goes as the game continues.
I didn't even try.
I make no promises. Hey, no, it's a big city. You guys are old. You could have come from anywhere.
Can't be as bad as that one time that Modi tried for a Hispanic accent.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was going for a Russian accent, and we all know. Southern accents are really easy. All you have to do is say y'all every other word.
That's all I'm banking on, because
Hey,
I
y'all,
already
we're going to
murdered a
y'all,
New
go
York
over to
accent.
the
I
y'all,
don't
it won't be
plan
y'all.
on following that up with anything.
I do kind of find Southern accents a little easier to slip into than some like European
I mean,
accents. Since you don't
some of
hear
us
it all
here
the time.
actually are Southerners, so...
Yeah, but probably not.
Why are you ordering?
Or I just get my wife drunk and she starts speaking in a Southern accent, and then I just mock her or mimic her.
Mock her.
We know what you
mock
meant.
as in, like,
No, we know what you meant, Modi.
Yeah, the y'all guideline is pretty legit. Just make sure to drop some bless her hearts in there.
Oh,
bless.
your heart.
All right.
Or you say things like wolves instead of wolves.
Wolves.
All, like we're gonna go get some oil for the pan. It's not oil.
Slowing
it's oil.
down is good too, because Northerners always speak at a kind of a more faster pace, a little more chippy.
Well, it's slow down, and then unlike in the North, where the emphasis is always on the first syllable, you have to put your emphasis on the last syllable of a word. So it's not root beer, it's root beer.
That's a good point.
It's different.
Oddly enough, being a Texan, my best Southern accent is my Mississippi accent because my mother is from Mississippi.
How does that differ?
I mean, I don't actually know, but I know that when I try for a Texas accent, a lot of times my mom's like, no, that's Mississippi.
That's okay. I'm really good at mimicking my mom, but I just sound like a racist, so.
How?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Where's
You can't
your
be racist.
mom from?
My mom's Panamanian, so she has an accent.
Oh, okay.
Well, now we need a demonstration. You can't just lay that out there.
No way in hell.
You can't just introduce, like, I could do my mom, but it sounds really racist. I'm not going to do it,
I basically
though.
offend all of Latin America. It's not just I'm offending my mom.
Fair enough.
I am from Virginia. I don't know how much I actually have so much of an accent, but I hear it all the time.
Apparently, I just got told at work today that Virginians are not Southern, so
That's not true.
that was the argument I tried to make, but
We
I was
take
told I
that
was wrong.
very personally.
I've always heard that, like, Virginia's that middle child where, like, some people are like, well, no, it's sort of northeast because it's one of the original colonies, but it's south.
Okay, let me put it this way.
Well,
So first of all, they were on the wrong side in the Civil War, and they're south of the Mason-Dixon line, and the capital of the Confederacy is in Richmond. That what else is qualifying as Southern at that point?
I'm just super
Go further
excited.
South.
I'm just super excited to be playing an accent that basically hasn't existed for about 300 years. So, that's going to be great.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
then you're
no
right.
one's
Like,
gonna
no matter
call
what,
you on it.
you're right.
Like I have some guidelines because the language is still spoken to some extent, but it's like 300 years later. So I'm worried that I'm just going to sound like a racist fake African accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be a fun game.
Yeah, when you said you were playing the African guy, I was like, oh, really?
Don't
No,
worry.
it's okay. I've got black friends. I can't be racist.
That's the most racist thing you can say.
Is that more or less racist than I'm not racist, I dated a black woman?
Less racist, maybe.
That made me cringe so hard, man.
Y'all are gonna
You're
get
wrong,
all
dude.
of
That
my
just does
videos
not
on
make that
YouTube
easier.
demonetized.
No, see, you just start the monetization now.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
like-
we'll
this is
just,
what
okay,
this
let
is.
me
Like,
mark the
play-
time.
Play like 29-second clips of music for that whole speech, so it doesn't so it still falls under fair use. Just 29-second clips.
But please include the part where Zibani explains how to get rid of what he said and monetize your video anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine
People,
because that's
that-
okay.
that'll bring out that sense of mystery. Like, what did he say? I must watch to see if he says it again.
They could just watch the stream. They
Yeah.
do the stream.
People are busy. All right, well, I think we can at least get started with our less than formal introductions, since you guys started on your characters, but we're going to continue exploring their design. So, as you're all just sort of hatching out of your vampiric cocoons, let's go around and get to know each of you a little bit. Tell us your name, your clan, and at least maybe why you kind of decided to go with that clan, why you decided to go this time around with it. Let's start with SuperChocolateBear as Luthor, the Toreador.
Yeah. So I chose Luther. He is only around 150, which I think is kind of young for our game. 150 dead, 180-ish, all in all. But he he exactly won his way into kindredness. There was a vampire around the time who would he would play a game where very rich people would pay a very high ante to play a game of chance to become immortal, and they always lost. But my character was able to find his way into the game and win on his first try. And his kindred just raised him into a gambler, and it actually became an addiction, or is an addiction for him. And he doesn't really try and fight it, but he does kind of hide it. He is a toreador, so he is very, he's supposed to have like kind of like a passion, something that he's like really into, and he doesn't like telling people he's really into gambling. What he does tell them is racing. He is into racing, hands down. Not into cars. He doesn't care what it looks like. What he cares about, or what he tells people, is like, how fast can it go around a corner? How fast can it go in a straight line? That's it. That's all he cares about. But really, he spends most of his time trying to gamble for very high-end items. He doesn't care about cash anymore. That ended like 70 years ago. The cash is fucking bleh. What he cares about is finding antiques, objects that are stuff that would be very interesting to like archaeologists. But yeah, I chose Toreador because I thought Toreador was like the farthest I could get from Roland, and that's really what I wanted to play. I was like, you know what, last time we did Roland and we went bleh. This time we're gonna do opposite. No fighting skills, not that it fucking matters, because Roland sucks at rolling, and yeah, that's how I got to it.
Well, that sounds fun. Definitely want to talk to you more about the gambling as your weakness. I'm not against it, but it's usually supposed to be maybe something kind of more visual, something that's striking. But I think we could definitely make that work one way or another. Something about maybe seeing a really like good move in a gambling situation, or since you're so into cars and racing, you could pull an angel and get a little taken aback when you see a nice car.
He's not actually that interested in cars. That's just what he tells people he's interested in.
I'd say he gets the flaw when like a really like nice gamble where if you win, like you get a lot out of it. I feel like that seems like
that is his
when
it's like,
oh yeah, man, I could win so much from this.
Yes,
that could work.
His thing is just like, even if he wins, like, all right, so let's say boom, someone's like, hey, I have this object, would you like to play a game for it, or blow up a gamble? He would go for it, and he would win it, and he would just fucking love it. But then he would also just like push it back onto the table and go, let's go again. Like he's not going to keep his hands on it. He's probably going to lose it, but because he just wants more and more and more of that feeling of winning.
Sounds like a gambler. All right. Next, we'll move along to Zibani, who is playing Abraham the Toreador. Or not Toreador, Ventru. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong symbol on the screen.
Yeah, so I am playing Abraham Butler. He was born in the late 1690s at some point. He's not actually sure what year he was born. He was shipped over to America from Angola, about 20 years or so later, on a slave ship because he was a political opponent to the Portuguese government coming in and taking Angola. Before, like in the docks, before they actually left, a strange man came to him and said, if you can keep anyone from opening this hatch during the boat ride over there, I will grant you powers beyond your imagining. And so that's what he did. He drank a strange potion that gave him strength and more charisma than he realized he had. And he convinced people to stay away from this hatch during the days. When he got over, he found out what his sire actually was. He found out that he was a vampire, and spent many years actually as a ghoul in the service of his sire. Because at the time, like from the 1700s until about the 1800s, the Sabbat were the primary controllers of the New World. So his sire came over to America to basically spy on the Sabbat to see if they could get a Camarilla foothold in the New World. And because Abraham was a black man, a slave, and because he had the unique ability that his ghouldom did not show on his aura, he was uniquely suited to be a spy in Sabbat and Sabbat-aligned households to gain information about them for the Camarilla. Around the time of the Revolutionary War, the full conflict between the Sabbat and the Camarilla came to fruition, and that's when he got his embrace. He spent time not so much as a warrior, because he is not very strong, not very fast, and is in fact crippled, which had happened before his Ghuldam. But he played basically a political... He played a political character during the war, and basically, like, that was his role. So once the Revolutionary War was done, he settled in New Orleans, and basically just kind of played the political game, played the stock market very heavily. So now he is a fairly wealthy, fairly influential Ventru. And the reason I picked Ventru was, one, because I haven't played a Ventru yet, and at this point I've played Nasi, I've played Toreador, I've played Tremere, so I'm trying to kind of work my way down the list so I can have experienced each clan at least once. But one thing that I like, one thing that inspires me about this character is his feeding restriction, which is he can only feed on people that look down on him. So back before the Revolutionary War, it was very easy to just find any old white person that looked down on him because he was black. As time has gone on, it has become, his feeding pool has gotten smaller and smaller, and it's gotten to the point where he actually has to manufacture reasons for people to look down on him so that he can feed on them.
Yeah, Ventru can easily be, with their weakness, easy to get around depending on what you pick, but depending on what you pick, especially as or what it means in your story, can become more complicated as time goes along, or different factors. If you usually have to feed on rich people and you lose all your fortune, that could cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. So nowadays he's where you kind of picture the Ventru as being this pompous, self-important character, that kind of makes it harder for him to feed. So he has to be this quieter, more subdued, a little bit twitchy kind of guy.
And Abraham has 2 buddies, right?
Yeah. So his hobbies, when he's not working finances, when he's not, handling politics, is he kind of does, he does whatever is kind of popular to just do as a chill thing. So lately it's family video games, but in the 1930s it was baseball. But another thing is that he has a pair of dogs, because he is inoffensive to animals. He has a basset hound that has been around since basset hounds have been around, so since around the 1800s. And just recently, in the past 20 or so years, he got a greyhound. And, they are Gould because dogs can't live 130 years. And they are totally worthless, and he loves them.
Yes, as we were discussing earlier, they're not Gould for stealth, protection, fighting. He just wants to keep his pups forever.
There's good old puppers.
Nice. We're gonna move on to ElvishDame, who is playing Dinah, another Toreador in our game.
Yes. So Dinah actually, I think, might maybe be she's not that old either. She's only maybe 120-ish, if that. She was born right around the turn of the century, 1800 to 1900 century, not obviously the 2000s. Sorry, Zibani asked me that earlier, and so I felt I needed to clarify. But because he's an ass. But so she grew up on the poor side of New Orleans. Her father died in World War I, and her mother ended up being basically a washerwoman. Dinah is actually also African American, and she grew up very much into music. She loved music so much, but she just couldn't really find a way to get into it. Right around the birth of the jazz in New Orleans in the 20s, she started. She was very talented. She was a good singer. She was very. She would love to learn anything anyone would teach her for any instruments, which basically wasn't too much, just a piano and a couple things every once in a while, which she could get into people's houses that would teach her. against her mother's wishes, she started like lingering in the downtown art scene more and more, mingling, trying to like land gigs anywhere. She actually met a few of the greats in passing, such as like Sidney Bechet and Kid Ory, but she was never given an offer to join bands because like that just wasn't the thing that singers did. Though she did get to sing with them off and on. She's kind of like impetuous and upbeat, and she kind of began to despair of making it anywhere. She was willing to do almost anything, especially in the early 20s. She ended up in more than a few bad situations on occasion. But one night she did actually have a gig, and a woman who eventually became her sire, named Rachel, saw her performing, and basically she had some connections in the fast-growing and fairly new recording industry. And so she was able to basically land Dinah a recording of her singing a song. And Dinah was like really, really super excited when she heard it, and then basically started working for Rachel after that, though instead of becoming more of a famous singer, she ended up staying in New Orleans, and this was kind of her job, especially this is why she was kind of sired at first. They needed another person to kind of help curve and create the fast-growing art and music scene in New Orleans as it was arising. So she ended up coordinating people and like introducing instrumentalists to each other and helping people start bands and like helping set up venues where people would come. So she ends up like over time becoming a fairly big organizational socialite, where she basically organizes a lot of the art events and stuff like that in the city. So she did, her mother actually did end up being murdered shortly after her embrace in like the late 20s. But it wasn't anything supernatural, it was just people being shitty. And she ended up hunting down the guy who killed her mom and like ripping him to pieces, and she got in quite a bit of trouble for that. But she has since that was back when she was more of a neonate, and she has since recovered from that. Her sire themselves is actually not around anymore either. They were killed in a bit of plot turmoil. I don't know if I should say things or if Spira wants to give the rundown of that later.
You can leave it there for now. We might talk about it all together.
But yeah, so basically Dinah is still around in New Orleans, still trying to get artists to meet each other, and does sing every once in a while. And she is, again, like I said, a toreador who enjoys singing. That is her thing. She loves music. She's very typical, the most typical toreador ever.
That's okay. You can be atypical of your clan and still stand out and be interesting. One thing I noticed, I think, on your sheet that I don't recall getting details from you is that you have pretty high in melee. What does she use?
Oh, right. So, so she actually did get into, like I said, a couple of bad situations every once in a while, and she learned how to do some like self-defense and like knife fighting. So she actually can fight with like basically a big knife. That is what she uses. It's not like a sword or anything elegant. It's just kind of gritty, down and dirty knife fighting kind of shit. She didn't actually usually have to get into any fights herself, obviously, but like she knew how to do it because she kind of lived in bad areas and mingled in bad areas a lot. So
nice. We will move over to Modi Ansuz, who's playing Bjorn, the gangrel.
Hey, so as she said, I'm playing Bjorn the gangrel, who started his life. He was born in the year 1676, so he's one of the older of the kindred here tonight, but he was born in the outskirts of Stockholm to farmers and lowly peasants, and he lived his life farming and raising under his parents until the king, Karl XII, took control of Sweden in 1700. And decided to go on the warpath and mustered a giant army in order to go invade others. So he enlisted in the military, feeling a sense of duty for his empire, and marched to war alongside the Swedish army for 8 long years until Karl is also known as Charles, turned his army towards Russia. So you would think that the Swedish, of all people, would know, don't invade Russia in the winter, or at least be able to handle the winter. They were wrong, because the winter they chose to invade Russia was during the coldest winters in modern European history. Needless to say, the Swedish were utterly crushed, and by 1708, their army was routed and fled to the Ottoman Empire to continue basically bolstering at the Russians. But fighting, shot and musket, bayonet range, and just marching through the crippling winter of Russian land left him with a very nasty taste for empires and kings and warfare in general, and just the mass waste of all of that. And he routed with the rest and deserted the army, and kind of went on a drinking spree and just trying to get his life back together. One night at an inn, he came across this interesting man who had old tattoos covering his body, was a bit grizzled, and struck up a conversation. They ended up hitting it off very well. Bjorn enjoyed stories and living, basically, and they both had a same appreciation of the grittiness of war and just the joy of living. And the man took him aside and explained that his name was Gunnar, and it basically said that he wished to travel and wondered if Bjorn would like to come alongside him. Bjorn agreed, not knowing fully, but then was told that Gunnar was a kindred and needed somebody to watch him during the day. He wanted to see the world and get out beyond the bounds of Scandinavia and view more. So he agreed to become a ghoul and spent the next 100 years traveling all over the world to India, Japan, the colonies, all of that. And one of the things he would do everywhere he went is he would get a tattoo of one of the places. So Bjorn soon developed an interesting pattern of tattoos all of his body. Sacred Hindi symbols right next to maybe, a samurai done in Japan, and other things like that, covering his entire body. Or not his entire body, but a good portion of his body. Eventually, after 100 years of service, Gunnar returned to Scandinavia and granted Bjorn his request to become, and sired him, trained him in the ways of Kindred and the Camarilla, and eventually set Bjorn out on his own, who he then quickly took his opportunity at the colonies had just broken free and formed the United States a couple decades ago, and he was interested by that spirit of fuck empires and fuck all of these kings and queens. We're a land of people and free spirits, and that appealed to him, and he made his way over to the States. Once in the States, he traveled along for a while, and as a gangrel, it's easy to travel as you can always find a place to sleep during the day.
Especially if you have that earth meld.
Which he does. So he's traveled the States and far and wide and just enjoyed. His main drive is to get out and experience and see other cultures. He loves telling stories and telling tales of all the lands he's traveled, and that's the main thing that motivates him. So he's always been traveling around and been to New Orleans on multiple occasions where he's come across other of the kindred and made deep connections with them, which, with the rising conflict going on in the city, he's been drawn towards it with an interesting opportunity to study other supernaturals. For one of the times is they often tend to stay away from each other. So this is a unique opportunity for him to get in deep and experience Garou and Mage society and learn and understand them, as he's traveled the world and seen what humanity has to offer, but he's interested now in what the other supernaturals do in their cultures and their customs. And that's just drawn him to the city, where he's offered his services to the prince in the rising conflict, and we'll see where things go from there.
Great. And similar to ElvishDame, I noticed something on your sheet. You took a higher number in performance. What were you thinking with that? And do you have like a specialty in mind?
Specialty is, so actually the demeanor I have on my character sheet is Skald, or, a Scandinavian bard of sorts. he loves storytelling. And as he's been around and traveled for basically 300 years, he's literally seen empires rise and fall. I mean, he fought amongst the Swedish Empire as it fell to any relations with Beckett. I don't think he might have met Beckett in passing, maybe. I mean, he's just been around for a while, but no,
don't give me a reason to put Beckett in my game.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that he has any relations to Beckett. However, he does have relations indirectly to a Methuselah, so take that as you will.
Wonderful. We're going to hop over to Kosnark, who is playing Theo the Samedi. Probably our first bloodline in any of our games.
So, yeah, I like snowflakes. So New Orleans, of course, we had to have at least one Samedi. So I decided to go with that. My name is Theo. He is very, very old. I think he's some 280 years old. And he's been in New Orleans since New Orleans was opened as a slaving port. He did a bit of traveling early on. He was actually a undertaker, well, what's now known as an undertaker, but a carpenter / he dealt with the dead. And he traveled a bit here and there, and he found that death tended to follow the slave trade wherever it went. So he kind of just got on a ship, went to Africa, came back, went all around, buried lots of people, so many people. And one of the times his ship was taken over, or the ship he was traveling on was taken over by a pirate at night, and being fascinated with the tools of the trade that he had on him and his skill set, he got turned. And his already really close proximity to death and all these horrible, miserable things, he finally saw like the light in death, and he decided to settle down in New Orleans and ply his trade, and eventually ended up getting very, very heavily involved with the voodoo, hoodoo, voodoo traditions that were born there. And being the way he looked, it worked kind of well to be involved with these very mysticized and people who didn't necessarily fear death as a thing so much as it had power to them. So he kind of fit in really well, and not actually being all that religious in his normal life, just like really fell into the voodoo, and he really enjoys it. And over the years, he started kind of listless. Most Samedi don't have necessarily like a mission to go on, but he really kept his morbid fascination with death, but in celebration of life. And that's one of the things he enjoys most, is making corpses lifelike and sort of disrespecting life and death in the same sentence. He really enjoys it, and he decided as years went on and technology has progressed and science has come about, nowadays he spends most of his time trying to fight and preserve traditions, to keep people afraid of the dark, to keep the fear and the mysticism in the world alive, and not let everything turn into hard fact and science. So he owns now, through lots of years of work, he owns some of the poorer districts that are involved in the spiritual aspects in New Orleans. And he skulks around there, semi-masquerade breaking, making sure people catch sights of him, or him in different faces or different states, in order to keep the whole mystery of it alive, and to keep the supernatural part alive, and to fuel young children to get into these things, to make sure everyone's got a conversion story where they're like, no, when I was a kid, I saw this. He fights really hard for that, and as the Setite and mages kind of bear down, trying to Spira will go into that, but he has a hard dislike of anybody coming into his territory and trying to screw up what he has there. He loves his humans, he loves the voodoo, he parties with them all the time, he gives them trinkets and all sorts of treats and toys and things like that. He loves the children, so he hangs around there mostly. He is involved with the Camarilla, he wouldn't say he's 100% Camarilla, but they're definitely a fair sight better than the Sabbat when you want to keep humans alive. So he just sees them as messy, sort of killing needlessly and being all over the place. So he's just kind of protecting his kind, and he thinks working with the Camarilla is the best to go. Personality-wise, he's just kind of happy-go-lucky. He doesn't care about anything material anymore. He doesn't care about money, but he made a lot of friends. He does a lot of favors and knows a lot of people. And that's just from being in New Orleans since New Orleans was founded. And that's kind of his position at the time. He helps the prince out pretty closely.
Great. And then, so actually, same question I had for Modi. You took a lot in performance. So what were you thinking in that direction?
He walks around as many different people. He's pretended to be Baron Samedi before. He wears all sorts of different faces. Obviously, his full form, which is quite rotted and fetid and not very nice, he doesn't like showing around children. So he has different faces and acts, and he'll sometimes be scary, sometimes sweet and nice. He likes to get really interactive with the community. So the performance, the acting is really kind of the core part of it. And also to act faker than maybe he actually is as well. So people buy that clearly it's not a totally real zombie, because that would be terrifying.
Perfect. And last but not least, we have Hopelessentree, who is playing a little something special in this game. She is going to be playing Rebecca, who is actually a Cult of Ecstasy mage. So Hope, go ahead and tell us a little bit about that. We haven't played anything with mage on our channel yet, and I will explain later why we have a mage here. But tell us a little bit about Rebecca.
Sure. So she was born and raised in New Orleans, though the rest of her family is immigrants from Trinidad and Tobago. They did grow up on the poor side of town, but she kind of had a pretty decent and relatively sheltered childhood. In that her parents watched them like hawks, and it wasn't so much that they couldn't, in theory, afford better, but they sent pretty much all of the rest of their money back home. So, growing up, it was probably in her early-ish teens, probably mid-teens, where she tried drugs for the first time, peer pressure from friends at a party while their parents were out, and had her first and worst ever trip. At some point realized that her friends were no longer there and she knew nobody at that place, locked herself in the bathroom and willed herself to be anywhere but there, and awoke as a mage, kind of seeing the party from a bunch of different angles and not actually going anywhere she wanted to be. But it was incredibly enlightening to her, so she kind of went on a chain of looking for bad trips to try that again. And trying out a fake ID at a bar, ran into her first other cultist, who kind of showed her a little bit of the ways of magedom. And has since come a long way. I'm really sorry. She is way younger than all of the vampires, so her story kind of, at some point, it runs out a little faster.
That's fine. You are certainly going to be interesting as we go along. We can all be sure of that. Let's go around the clock again real quick. I want to know what everybody looks like, because we don't have pictures just yet. So, SuperChocolateBear, describe Luther for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to come back? Do you
Does
need
he have face?
He has a shirt. He's a man.
Okay.
He's a man
Oh my
with a
god,
shirt.
shirt guy, it's shirt guy's cousin.
Get the fuck out of here!
Oh, was that character taken? Is there other characters with shirt?
Yeah, there's another character that wears a shirt and has hair.
Yeah, let's just make him 35, thin. He's not very muscular. Wears, higher end clothing because he's Toreador and he needs to look fancy. Bald, and black. No beard. No hair.
All right. How about you, Zibani? What does Abraham look like?
Right. He is little bit taller than average, like 6 foot. He is a black guy, kind of close cut hair, but not bald, and a little bit of a scruffy beard that's not too. It's not clean shaven, but it's not like a full proper beard. He is not physically imposing in any way. In fact, he's usually kind of the opposite. Usually dresses in shabby clothes, looks a little bit dirty, but there are other times when he needs to look more impressive that he wears exceedingly nice, very finely tailored suits, and can put on the appearance of being a very imposing man. Also, as I said, he's lame, so he does walk around with a cane regardless of what outfit he's in, though it is nicer or less nice depending on what he's wearing.
Nice. And ElvishDame, I think you already have kind of a vision in mind for Dinah.
I do. Actually, I'm going to post a link in the chat here.
Yeah, it's Shirtman.
So,
and is it Dinah or Dina? Dinah.
It's Dinah. Yeah, Dinah Williamson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is fairly short. She's like 5'3", 5'4", like still like on the lower end of average to could be short. She is more curvy, more plus sized, and then she has like she lets her hair be kind of, she likes her hair being kind of big, though it's actually short, and then she basically just does weaves and whatnot with it. Which that doesn't revert back, does it? I wanted to ask you about that. Because it doesn't alter her actual hair.
No. You should be fine if you're...
Yeah.
All right, and okay. Modi Ansuz, what is Bjorn like?
So funnily enough, when she first asked me this question, all I did was Google tattooed Viking and came up with it close enough. So he does have an undercut similar to me or Kos over there, but it's long and grown out, and he typically wears it back in a ponytail, or braided and back. He has a nice full beard that's trimmed to a respectable length. So he's very clean and kept well. About 6'2", not a slab of meat. I mean, he's built, but not just like ripping abs. I go to the gym every day. He's not all about them gains.
Not Gears of War kind of.
Yeah, no. And the other main thing about him is, while he does have a few, say, Viking or Nordic tattoos on him, he's just kind of a motley of tattoos over him. His back and shoulders completely done, a couple of chest pieces, and just tattoos down either side of his arms of just everywhere he's been. It's almost just, so where some people keep their passports is kind of like a collection of where they've been. He keeps it as physically on his body as everywhere he's gone. He's kind of left a memento of the culture, the language of the people. He's somehow incorporated it into a tattoo. So
nice. And Kosnark, you are playing our essentially super gross, falling apart Nosferatu kind of a bloodline. Do you have anything special you can tell us about Theo other than what Samedi tend to look like?
So, like, there's a more detailed of, like, I know what he looks like, but he looks like a soggier, not-so-long-haired version of the Crypt Keeper. Essentially, with more holes in him, though. Like, he's missing most of the cheek meat here and here. He's still got the sinew and tendon. Eyes are pretty sunk back because he's so very old. He wears a lot of face paint. So he is a white guy, by the way, but he's just like fully into the voodoo thing, doesn't care. So he'll actually wear like the face paint and stuff like that. And he likes the Baron Samedi kind of look, you know, white eye paint, all that kind of stuff. Super fun. But he's got essentially what's flesh crafting, but with corpses and obfuscate. So he looks however the hell he wants to look on a given day, but his natural state is kind of sunken-eyed, hollow, because he's much, much older. He doesn't leak as much as he did when he was younger. So he smells a little more natural dead than putrid dead, I guess. Or fresh dead. Like, ugh. But he's a little still dead. Still totally dead, you can tell, but not as fresh.
So it's like jerky that's been left out a little too long.
Like minty fresh winter dead instead of hot summer dead.
Yeah, or like, cool fall, spring, like cool fall, summer, evening, summer.
Also, I am absolutely now going to take a picture of the Crypt Keeper, just Photoshop more hair and like MS Paint a skull on his face.
He doesn't have like the long scraggled hair. He actually has like short cropped.
Well, I will Photoshop the hair out and then skull.
Well, missing more parts. Doesn't look like he's made out of rubber.
I'll do my best. And Hopeless as Rebecca. What does Rebecca look like?
Young,
what does she smell like?
Short. She smells like life. Not always good.
What does her blood taste like?
What blood type is she?
Cocaine.
All the Kindred start moving in like, hi.
She is short and pretty wiry is not the right word in terms of build, but like she's pretty ruler, like dark skin, dark eyes, her hair is also dark and curly. She is about 25, but she looks a few years younger. She looks like maybe 21.
All right. So now that we've gotten to know all of you a little bit and even kind of what you look like, I'm going to go over a little more of the history. I've spoken with all of you about it a bit, but I'm going to like kind of summarize some of the major key points since New Orleans' founding. So New Orleans was founded in 1718. From that point into the 1800s, the prince of the city, Doran, was in a regular fight against the Spanish Bruja Simon de Cosa, who wanted to take the land for himself. Cosa pretty much constantly got his ass handed to him and eventually disappeared just into the 19th century. No one's seen him since, and Doran continued his reign over the city. The time of its founding also coincides with the period in which the majority of African slaves were brought into Louisiana, bringing with them their cultural practices, including ancestor worship, their religious beliefs, and their crafts, herbs, potions, poisons, rituals, so on and so forth. Those that practice voodoo also believe in spirits known as Loa, such as the Baron Samedi. Similar to gods, but not exactly the same kind of idea. In the 1800s, two new faces started making waves. Lupines, many of whom traveled to Louisiana from Canadian provinces, and mages, both those who followed traditions, like Hopelessentree's character, as well as technocracy mages, the big baddies compared to the traditions, the ones who want to just suck it all up and use it for themselves. Then Prince Doran managed, with the help of a local gangrel, to design a treaty with Lupine that set domains for them and for the Kindred, and banded their efforts together against the technocracy mages who sought to steal all the magic from the local cairns, the resting places of the werewolves. In the mid-20th century, Prince Doran was murdered by an assassin, likely due to his to disagreements among the elders of the city, who were against Doran's dream of leaving behind the Masquerade to walk freely among the humans in New Orleans, like in the days of Carthage. The Ventrue Marcel replaced Doran as prince. Most would likely agree that he is suited to the position, cares deeply about the city, and sees to its well-being, including the human residents. He loves the history and the culture of the city and does what he can to preserve it. Money, favors, anything he has to. Though, like any kindred city, there are rumors and dissent among outliers, those who don't trust him, those who think he might have been involved in Doran's murder, and especially the gangrel, who might have a little bit of a stick up their backsides when it comes to Marcel, because he, after Doran was murdered, blamed the gangrel who started the treaty and sent a bloodhound onto him. So the gang around the city a little on edge with Marcel, feeling, they might at any time be kicked out. Whereas otherwise, Marcel is very welcoming to basically any clan, except the Setites, who have been trying to use the good folk of New Orleans who practice voodoo for their own means. So, all that said, I want to get back to some questions for my PCs. Let's see how we all tie you together. Just before we start, trying to tie you all together, figure out who arrived when and why you'd be interested in meeting with one another, you all actually took occult as a specialty. Save Hope, but you took Esoterica, so same thing. I just wanted to know, are we all thinking voodoo or a mix of things? Just a general interest in the occult?
Do you want us just to shout it out?
Yeah. I don't want to do too much carousel.
Yeah.
We can just start chatting now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, my kind of intent was kind of vampiric knowledge, because I did spend a lot of time spying about vampires. Probably heard some stuff about other supernaturals, though decidedly less. But my occult is mostly what Sabbat are, what some of the rarer bloodlines are. That's probably what my occult goes to.
Mine was going to be more into just items of the occult. He doesn't care about ghost or fucking any of that casting magic. He just cares about items that are very hard to get your hands on that do things.
As far as mine's concerned, I think it's a little bit of just having experienced a lot of cultures and literally traveled the world, that it's a little bit more of the odds and ends, say something from India decides to show up. Bjorn might have heard of that because, hey, he's been amongst those people, experienced their culture, shared their, learned their songs, learned their stories, and that's kind of where he gets his information and occult knowledge from. That and just, age.
Somehow we've...
Yeah. Theo's definitely super, super, super voodoo. In fact, some of the more modern, sort of Americanized, New Orleans-specific type traditions, probably he had a part in doing, or at least working with, making happen.
ElvishDame, what were your thoughts on your occult?
Okay, so she knows some. She grew up in New Orleans and was around some of the kind of did hear some of the I was trying to decide whether it was hoodoo or voodoo that she kind of knew, but doesn't actually super know a lot about it, but she kind of knows some basic things here and there. Again, she's also been trying to keep her ear out for anything interesting as far as vampires go. So she tries to learn a lot about that kind of thing wherever she can. So that's actually probably more what she knows. The actual either hoodoo or voodoo, I haven't decided which one. I'll figure it out later. Is more from when she was human than when she was kindred.
And Hope. So you well, actually, real quick, Zibani, did you get me your information about your occult?
Yeah, it's spent a lot of time spying on the Sabbat, so it was about vampires and.
I'm making sure I have my notes in order.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hope, since you are our mage, you certainly have some information about magic stuff. Tell us a bit about your Esoterica.
Yeah, so her Esoterica is going to be sort of primarily voodoo. It is her grandparents practiced basically Santeria, and when they got into New Orleans, a few of the Orishas in Santeria kind of lend themselves to the Loas in Voodoo, and so they borrowed it a little bit, and so her knowledge is kind of a blend of both.
Nice. And Modi, as Bjorn, obviously you've been around. Do you have a more outside occult specialty, or did you start learning while you were in New Orleans?
Outside would be predominant his knowledge. Just like you said, the travels and gathering bits of legend and experiencing and just traveling the world. He would have a New Orleans, he might be the weakest on specific occults of the city, but that's probably something he's actively trying to fix.
Let's take a look at kind of our linchpin for the city as far as who's been there the longest and would know kind of the most about what's going on. Kosnark as our Samedi Theo. So we know that your character has been in New Orleans since about the time the slaves started coming in. You would have seen that introduction, birth, and growth of Louisiana voodoo from old hoodoo culture, from maybe even moving from Haiti into Louisiana, all that fun stuff. So let's see that obviously Bjorn was from elsewhere, came to New Orleans. Dinah, however, you were born and raised in New Orleans or just Louisiana? Elvis Dame.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was reading the chat.
It's okay. I was trying to start to work on how you guys wound up together. So,
yes.
Did you say you were just a resident of Louisiana or New Orleans specifically?
New Orleans in particular.
Okay.
I born and raised here. Yep.
All right. Luther and Abraham?
I probably have traveled around the country a little bit, but what, Becker? Oh, Luther.
Are you just wondering if we're permanent or how we got here?
Human. Were you embraced there?
No. Embraced in Texas.
All right. And Rebecca, you're from the area though, right?
Yes, born and raised.
Yep. And Abraham?
Sorry, I'm not used to that name. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you by character names. It's fine.
I'm still waiting for fucking Angel. Yeah, I was no.
Hey, Angel.
Yeah, born in Angola, got embraced at some point. Like, I don't even think the embrace, like where he got embraced, was specifically important to him. It's just shit popped off for the Revolutionary War, and they're like, okay, we need you on our side now instead of on the ghoul side. But probably wasn't in North area in New Orleans.
All right, so we've got at least two of you that were originally from the area, at least embraced either in the city or perhaps out, but then moved back to New Orleans, and a good number of you from outside who found your way to New Orleans. What would have potentially drawn you to the city? Definitely the city is well known, and I mean this even more specifically for Kindred, for all of the normal festivals that it runs, being kind of a special occasion for Kindred to gather and have a little bit of a extra to do, as well as it's known as kind of a refugee city for Kindred. If you need to leave your hometown for a minute because someone's on your tail, New Orleans is essentially open for you to stay as long as it's not any sort of blood hunt related issue.
Yeah. I mean, I can start. Reason I decided to settle in New Orleans was for exactly the reason that it was a big slave trading port. So I could pretend to be someone's slave, maybe dominate someone if I needed to, but just pretend to be someone's slave, and my feeding ground was ample. And then once slavery was abolished, like, I'd been here long enough that I just, I wanted the stability instead of the moving around that I did a lot prior to the Revolutionary War.
My guy just pretty much figured, like, where are we going to find in the United States, like, the most people using supernatural objects and things like that? And he's like, well, we go after some voodoo items down there for a bit.
Nice. And Bjorn, I think since you're the only other one that's really from outside, what drove you to New Orleans?
Well, I mean, so first of all, he likes the American idea of the, saying a giant fuck you to empires and everything. That's what drew him in Kings and Queens, and the personal freedom and that egalitarianism is what drove him to America in the first place. And he's been here for, I don't know, the better part of 200 years, or 150 years in the States. It's kind of where he's settled down a little bit. I mean, he still travels, but New Orleans specifically is a city full of, I mean, it was a port city, a major port city when the French owned it and then the Americans, and it's this wonderful melting pot of cultures and people. It's seen such great times, such terrible times, and it's just one of those cities that's fascinating in the way that sorry, Hope distracted me. So the fun of just the mixing of cultures and the people, and like he likes other cities like Los Angeles or New York where you can experience just a wide variety of people, and that's kind of like his drive, is to just experience. And New Orleans is a fabulous place for it, and with a place with so many tourists, it's makes for ample feeding ground.
Very nice. Well, Theo, who's catching your eye? You've obviously got kind of your finger on the pulse as these people move around in and out of the city.
So we've had some backroom gaming, some private conversations already with a couple peeps here. We can always change if we want to, however we work about it. But I'm going to, well, Hope's character and me are going to, she's going to find me somehow through a link. We're ironing out the details, but I do, again, one of my favorite pastimes is going through the French district and the back alleys late at night and giving kids stuff. And I look not natural, but not ultra scary. But I gave her something that she's held on to. It's super important. We're narrowing down on what it is as a child, and she finds another child with something like that later down the line and comes and finds me. We become friends, I assume. I like her. I'm on her side of like, no, this is my mage. Everyone leave her alone.
Yeah, I think we already have a drawing.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
like that.
I know, I got it. I got it in the middle of the screen.
Expert illustration here.
It's my magnum opus.
It's Mozart
Beautiful.
quality.
High fives.
In that I don't think Mozart drew, and I'm basing it on that.
No, but he did write a song about, like, licking assholes.
He did.
But yes, I remember, Hope, you were telling us, as a Cult of Ecstasy mage, you say it much more eloquently than I'll try to repeat, but the idea of, exploring everything in life, and vampires are the new frontier.
Yes. So basically, the universe is divine and alive, and everything is there for you to explore it. As Elvish has said, to hurt my feelings like Pocahontas, but basically, I mean, if the only thing that keeps you from reaching everything that you can reach is the fact that we die, and you have these walking dead, like, she wants to know what they've seen and why don't they, if they do or don't, pursue what they pursue. Like, what are their lives? Are they stagnant? Are they dynamic? That is just all super interesting to her.
And I am the closest to the dead of all the dead.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Bjorn and I... Was it Bjorn?
Bjorn.
Bjorn, yeah. Bjorn and I are old-time friends. I believe he swung through New Orleans a few times. I'll wait for him to
come back.
Well, I don't want to like tell him his backstory. So Bjork. I think he turned out in some sort of like Swedish band later.
It's Schmitty, Werben, Jägerman, Jensen.
Scandinavian.
Gillick's Garden.
But yeah, so as far as me and Modi had worked out. Oh hi, welcome back.
Sorry, my wife was distracting me.
No problem. But we are friends that go back, linked together by our unabashed love of life, our interest in exploring just about everything, although he travels much more than I do. Also,
I have a little bit easier time of traveling.
I can turn into any corpse I want and get into a coffin and go somewhere. So, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, but I also do have. I would have.
It's a fun party trick.
It is a fun party trick, but I may have given him shelter when most of the gangrel were kind of run out. I gave him shelter in my domain. Made sure he was safe because he's a friend of mine. I've always helped him out whenever he's around. He's helped me out a few times. He's the one who taught me Protean, actually. So he taught me that.
I got obfuscate, so.
Yep. So we taught each other a few tricks back in the day. We like to get together and do the vampire equivalent of drinking each other under the table for fun.
Wait, so how many poor victims do we go through?
This is gotta be like a small army.
Oh, I'm drinking 6 hookers tonight. You've drinking 7?
I'm sorry.
Well, bring me another hooker.
For me, drinking someone under the table always sounds like you're literally drinking from them under the table.
Under the table. That's not
like you're going up under
This
the
is a
table and
family
biting them
show.
down there.
After enough people that are up on liquor, you might find us under the table still drinking people. So it's fine.
Well, I mean, under the table, you would have access to the femoral artery, which would be a fantastic place to just consume a large quantity of blood. So yeah.
Family show.
So yeah, I'm at least.
I have mature clicked on for the channel. We're good.
I just like saying family show. I don't actually ever mean it.
Yeah, this is without a doubt the most family of shows.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, anyone else who'd like to know me I'm more than happy to have more friends.
Yeah,
I've been here for a long time.
Actually, Kosnark and I have also come up with
Yes, we have.
Because you know people and have connections and have lots of favors, but I think one thing you've said that you don't have is anything along the lines of money.
No, I don't really do money anymore. So he's a little light on that.
That's the one thing I have in spades. I am basically rich as God. So, and I've also been in New Orleans consistently longer than anyone except for Theo. Like, I've been in for 200 years. He's been in for like just under 300 years. So been longer, but so we've been trading favors and money back and forth for so long that we've both kind of forgotten who is like, who actually owes who what, but it doesn't really matter at this point because we both know each other's good for it.
And on that topic, there might be a certain Nosferatu in the city that has bankrolled a lot of Bjorn's wild excursions and endeavors.
Nice.
I swear if I know this Nosferatu.
Yes, you do.
Now, we do have 2 Toreadors. One is a fair bit older than the other, so perhaps once our lovely jazz singer got turned and introduced to the other Toreadors of the city, maybe happened upon a certain gambler.
Absolutely, she definitely did.
Oh yeah, we're best friends.
Oh yeah, totally. Didn't you
I like
guys
it.
know?
She comes and watches me race and slightly gamble, and I come and watch her sing at underground clubs.
Right, and we do each other favors by like booking nice gigs at each other's places. Although she doesn't actually have her own place, but she like coordinates a lot of stuff around other people's places.
Exactly.
I thought you were about to say we do each other's hair, but the other thing's
I was
good as
really
well.
hoping, and then I was let down.
Makeup.
I don't
We do
know.
each other's makeup.
Can you do weaves? Because
he can't. Roland,
Roland can't.
All right, that's heading in a good direction. Now, here is a question I've asked at least a couple of you, but let's explore it a little further. You would all save perhaps Rebecca, know Prince Marcel, and would have at least learned about Prince Doran's idea about the city. Prince Doran, the previous prince, really wanted to lead New Orleans into this state where the Masquerade was no longer needed. He wanted to actually integrate Kindred back into society as a whole and have Kindred and humans walk the streets together, based on this, dream of Carthage, which that's how it was way back when. As I mentioned, Doran was assassinated, and it's assumed because he brought this plan more to measure. He talked about it before, but he really brought it to his council and other elders in the city saying, I want to move forward, I want to actually do this. Having at least heard of this, would you say you like the idea, support it, think it's crazy, and then certainly how you might feel about Marcel? Do you think you believe the rumors? Do you dislike authority in general?
So I was around, right?
Yes, you definitely were. You would have even known
the last
Doran.
prince. Yeah, and I was 100% into his idea of this being somewhat like that, with the Masquerade not being such a big thing, but I wasn't all in. I was just like, we don't have to be as hidden as we are. And my bad habits of Masquerade breaking in the poor parts of town have not gotten better over years. So the current prince tolerates this, especially in my own domain. He tolerates it, but he probably doesn't like it. But I haven't stopped doing it anyway. I'm still working hard to become so accepted that people are just like, that's fine, that's normal in here in this town.
Yeah. So I kind of operate from the shadows. I like to play chess with people, and that's a lot harder to do when the average person knows that you can control minds. So I'm kind of a fan of the Masquerade. It helps me do me. But I wasn't too stressed about Dorn and his odd theories because, I liked my city, But I do prefer the presence of the Masquerade just because it makes my job easier.
Luther prefers the Masquerade because it gives him a gift that is a lot more valuable. If vampires are just common and humans could just become kindred very easily, then he wouldn't exactly have a big ante that he could kind of throw around for them.
Dinah actually really enjoyed the idea of that got kind of spread around of a Masquerade free city, only because she was really interested to see what kind of music and art would come from that. But as soon as it kind of absolutely looked like it was not happening, she shut up about it and she will never mention it ever again. But she actually really enjoyed the idea of not having to have the Masquerade, if only because the more open you are about things with people, the more weird traditions and cultures are shared, the more interesting the art and music scene can become, especially in indie place. So that was what she wanted out of that, but yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just about to step in. Oh my god, Rev. So Bjorn would have been 100% against this. The whole breaking the Masquerade and integrating with humanity. Bjorn's been around long enough that I'm pretty sure that I've seen enough of this that he understands the panic, he understands mob mentality, he understands all of that, and just there's no way that he can see this going well. As much as he loves living with kind and believes fully in embracing their culture and intermingling among them, the dropping of the Masquerade is just... But then again, in the same vein, a part of him would love that concept. He wants to be free and open, but he doesn't think it's feasible. He doesn't think it's feasible.
Understood. Please ignore our dear friend Revolver, who has apparently broken our Twitch chat.
Or he's just subscribed for like
Guys.
26 years.
Just dropping all that money.
Did you know that Revolver C has subscribed for a $4.99 sub? I
Rev,
didn't.
thank you so much for
Yeah, no, thank
4 subs.
Yeah, that
Be StorytellerSpira without some technical difficulty.
I like to think that
I was almost disappointed.
I like to think that it's just anytime he tries to push enter to send a message, he accidentally subscribed again.
so he's just sent you like $150. Oh, hey,
Do not refund the money. Do not refund the money.
Exactly.
Okay, well, while that does its own thing, Hope, I wanted to ask you, how long has your mage been awakened, and how much does she know about other traditions, especially the ones in New Orleans, and additionally, anything about technocracy? Does she know much about them? Does she know kind of how, like, what they do?
Yeah, so,
Also,
sorry.
let me know if me and you've gotten up to any shenanigans since you've been a mage.
I would love to get into some shenanigans. So she's been a mage for about... He's still going, I'm sorry.
You're gonna be bored.
He can't send any of his messages, you guys. That's why he's just radio silent.
He doesn't do anything that time, they just keep popping back up.
Hey guys, did you know that Revolver C is subscribed?
Guys, I just want to thank Revolver C again for subscribing to us for 4 months in a row.
Shout out to Rev, thanks for the $600 donation.
Yes, you know what? Since he's given us so much money, I would like to say Revolver C is an amazing streamer. Go check out his channel.
He's pretty chill.
That's how we do around here. You give us $600, we'll shout you out.
I'm pretty sure you give us like $5 and we'll shout you out. Let's
Shut up. They don't know that.
Shit, I didn't say that.
We didn't. Yeah, we'll just take his money. That's fine.
I already tried refreshing, so I'm not sure what to do at this point.
But I'm sorry. So we were talking about
sorry.
All about her life.
Yeah.
So she's been a mage for about a decade now. So a pretty decent amount of time. And her occult knowledge is pretty exclusively to mages. She does not know very much about vampires, unfortunately. She knows about her other traditions, and she knows about the technocracy, which is why something like getting rid of the whole masquerade. She loves that Theo flirts with it, like, a lot. She fucking loves that he just flirts with the line of the masquerade. She thinks that's amazing, but she is afraid of the technocracy to a big degree, and so getting rid of it completely frightens her for the rest of the inhabitants of the city.
Would you say that you would share at least some of your knowledge about what the technocracy is with even at least Theo, if not some of the others?
Yeah, she would definitely at least share it with Theo.
How many Setites have we killed together?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Zibani. 6, at least 6 this week.
No. I was saying at least 1/6 gin.
So in that time,
At least.
you would have told her why you don't like the Setites, right? Because she by default does not know about them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would have told you about the Setites and their nasty-ass snake magic trying to come in and pervert my beautiful, pure voodoo child.
Well, yes, I certainly felt that that would, catch Rebecca's attention of like, wait, they're messing with magic users?
Yeah, no, and especially children, she does have a soft spot for, so if they go into children, that's kind of...
Theo just pats you on the head. Oh, child, you're all children to me.
That's nice. I'm God, though.
All right, so we definitely have some good little lines in our web being drawn here. Dinah and Luther are very close friends after she becomes embraced and meets him, and they do each other Toreador favors. Ha. I think they would obviously get to know Abraham one way or another, being the socialite clans of the city. Abraham is then close with, I believe you said, Theo? You had a connection with him?
Yeah, we have been trading money and favors for about 200 years.
Yes, and then I believe Bjorn, you've connected with Theo, and then you would probably, maybe even just like in your early time in the city, come across Luther, Abraham, and Dinah just being out about in the city. You are a gangrel, and you are you're a skull. Rebecca, you discovered Theo. Yes.
Anyone who's known me for any appreciable period of time would absolutely know Abraham, because me and him would hang out a fair amount.
Yeah.
So anyone I like enough to be my friend would definitely be introduced to Abraham at some point, or you would see us in passing doing business about something or other.
Right. So now, getting into the actual current day point of view of New Orleans, we have the fact that the lupine, the Garou, the werewolves, while the treaty still stands, it's not doing so well. The ice is getting thin. They've definitely felt like, even if it wasn't Marcel's fault, the treaty designed a line of domain that the Kindred had the city proper, like actual French Quarter, Bourbon Street, all those areas allowed to be Kindred domain, and the Lupines wanted the outside areas, the forests, the bayous, the more natural areas where all of their cairns are. But with human progression, even without Kindred influence, the city has spread even to like bayou areas. There's been, development, or there's tourist setups, things like that. So the Lupines are getting a little antsy and a little frustrated because where the humans move, the Kindred follow along, of course. And while they are still all concerned about keeping the technocracy mages at bay, the Lupin's furs are starting to stand on end. And the gangrel, who have really been the ones to help maintain that treaty, the ones to actually reach out and speak with them, there's only about 3 permanents in the city, if you count Bjorn as a permanent, and just a few transient who, seeing as they're transient, don't necessarily want to get too involved in those politics. So that is one concern that's happening lately in the city. And then the other, of course, as you as Kindred would know, is the problem with the technocracy mages who want to come in and not only take these cairns, which will cause problems with the werewolves, but also they want regular domain. They want to actually take parts of the city for themselves. And Rebecca would be the one to kind of let you know what she knows about technocrats. Is that how you would say it?
Yes.
Okay. So she would let you know what she knows about that. It is actually early January 2018, which means in about a month is Fat Tuesday, aka Mardi Gras. And with New Orleans being the central home for the biggest, wildest, best Mardi Gras celebration, Kindred are going to start flocking into the city. Humans are going to start going wild. It might be an interesting time in which any of the kind of enemies, antagonists contending for the land might kind of try and see if Kindred are a little too busy having fun and paying attention and making sure that humans are dropping dead from drunk Kindred sucking up a little too much. Now, with that said, what would your personal concerns be? Would you care? Would you care if you were offered money, favor? The prince is certainly going to be getting his best and brightest available to help maintain order.
Dinah would want to try to keep her position. Yes. So she would basically just try to do whatever with whoever was currently in power to keep the exact position that she has, which is to say, like the coordinator for the art scenes, kind of behind the scenes. So.
And yeah, I said that Luther normally wouldn't care, but if he lost a bet to the prince, then he would be forced into helping.
Oh yeah, I put on Dinah's sheet that she's actually got some status with.
Yes,
well,
I do actually have more questions for you guys about especially a lot of your backgrounds. We can even discuss some of them here, but I feel like some of them will, like allies and contacts, I know you guys want to actually work out the finer details, figure out who you imagine is the person in the city you can ask for favors or get information from. But I did notice your status, so definitely being a Toreador and your business as a sort of entertainment agent and liaison would afford you status officially as a background means among Kindred, but that would kind of carry the same weight as your booking entertainment for clubs that probably are either run by Kindred or Kindred go to, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
As far as Bjorn, the way that if the prince would have approached him asking for assistance, Bjorn would not have asked a price. It's more of just, you've asked a favor, and I'm remembering that.
In Theo's, Theo feels very surrounded, kind of, in the city right now. He's not happy with the amount of different directions bad things are coming from and the unknown threats. He doesn't like this whole mage thing. That's not nice. He really doesn't like the Setite. He's has a truce with the prince, but he's always uncomfortable having a large domain in the city. So he's like getting aggressively more interested in defending his domain and his status in the city as well. He is I don't know what his status affords him as far as rank, but he's got the status of a prince in the city. So, but obviously he's not prince. He doesn't like challenge the prince. He doesn't want to be prince. He's honestly not interested. But like people know him as you would or respect him as you would a prince, and he has a large domain. So probably the whole French district, whatever 5 points domain gets you.
We'll work on the specifics of that, and then same with the status. They actually find interesting.
Yep, but in that regard, I still work closely with the prince. I advise him.
One second, guys.
3 people just said sound cut out. So.
Oh, I don't think I was holding my button down all the way.
I mean, we heard you. I think.
Yeah, just a short wrap up of what I just said was that there's canon precedent for being a little separated, semi-autarchus in a city, even though like you have a status similar to the prince and afforded the same respect and or fear.
Either way, I'm more concerned with my domain, but being the actual Mardi Gras time stuff coming up, obviously I care about the city itself, so I'm very interested in making sure everything's going safe, that it's not going to be a vulnerable spot for the Camarilla where we're going to have anyone coming in and trying to mess with our city. So I would be working very closely to help in any way I could for a price, and not a financial price, just for favor. And in return, the prince would help me with my domain, keeping it under order in this like huge surge of vampires and everything.
Right, and that leaves Abraham. And Abraham, being a long-term resident, part of it he does have a vested interest in keeping this this treaty between the Garou and the Kindred solid, because that definitely keeps his city safer. He's not a huge fan of the technocracy because they're trying to take control. They're trying to kick him out of his home. Beyond that, the prince, if the prince as a Ventrue asks him a favor, he's basically going to do it, because that's how the Ventrue do. When a Ventrue of equal or higher status to you says, hey, I need your help, you kind of don't really have a choice if it's a reasonable request.
Mm-hmm. Although they also kind of understand you can't push your underlings too far without also rewarding them later.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good give and take.
Yeah.
Hopelessentree as Rebecca, a human kinda, but otherwise a mage and Cult of Ecstasy. How are you feeling about Mardi Gras? Would you immediately be concerned about these things?
She absolutely loves Mardi Gras and is maybe a little stupid in just the joy of it all, because she prepares for it months in advance. Like, she's really big into costuming and making, and then also making for herself. So she just really throws herself into it.
Great. And I actually have just really quick one more question I wanted to ask for Hope. Then we'll probably take a few minutes break. I think my dog needs to go outside anyway. But your avatar and your node, we talked a little bit about it. Have you thought about it more? You're not locked into anything you say. I'm just curious, because it's a very interesting city for a mage with an avatar.
It absolutely is. I did have one in mind, but I need to read more on it in terms of avatar. I was thinking Papa Legba, but
Nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely not locked into it. This is a character discussion, making sure you guys get to talk to each other, kind of give you ideas by doing this little roundtable session. But for the moment, we're gonna go ahead and take a little break so all of our crew here can run off if they need a drink or anything. I gotta let my dog out. Anybody in the chat, if you have questions for any of us, you can ask me questions about the game, the channel. You can ask any of the PCs questions about how they're feeling about their characters or the setting, and we will get back to you either over voice or we'll type back to you. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm gonna let all the music and stuff run.
I also have another question for Hope. Did you decide what your avatar, or I'm sorry, your familiar is going to be?
It depends on avatar, because if I go with Papa Legba, he is partial to dogs, so I might go with that. But otherwise,
But a cat would be so good.
So otherwise, I'm thinking a cat, because I'm a traditional mage, witch with the cat is kind of neat.
Also, I will go ahead and answer the stream's question, because I'm sure everyone has it. Who would win in an arm wrestling contest amongst the players? And we all know it is Hopelessentree. She is the arm wrestling queen.
I know for a fact I wouldn't.
Wrong.
Fuck you, I'm not arm wrestling. I've seen too many arms broken that way, so no.
You go over the top, right, Hope? You do the trick. You go over the top.
It starts, and then about a second in, I realize I've not prepared for this. So it immediately turns to I use both hands and try to cheat, and it doesn't work.
We've all seen Sylvester Stallone's Over the Top, correct? None of you have seen his movie from the 80s where he is an arm wrestling trucker where
No, but
he
that
loses
sounds
his...
amazing, and I want
Guys,
to watch it
what
now.
the fuck?
I
Go
was
watch
dead
that
then.
movie. Yeah, but I mean, obviously you've seen movies from the 80s. Over the
Were
top.
you actually dead?
Technically,
Yeah.
No, because I think
Yeah.
dead is
I
the
certainly
condition
wasn't
of having
alive.
ceased
alive.
to exist. I
I
think
didn't
dead
even
is having
begin.
ceased to exist.
I was not alive.
Oh no,
what do
yeah,
you call something that's not alive?
Not alive.
Dead.
You just say not alive.
Did
I mean,
we
you
go
can,
around?
but when you say my grandmother's not alive, it sounds weird as shit.
Did, have we gone around and
However,
That's why it's
what are we
weird.
all drinking tonight?
Water.
As I discussed
Apple-
earlier, I am drinking Ballast Point's Grapefruit Skull Pin.
Oh,
Please,
Ballast Point.
please sponsor me, Ballast Point.
have you had their
Water
habanero
out of a
sculpin?
mason jar.
No, because habanero anything sounds not right. Like, I'm scared of spicy beef.
Habanero terrifies me.
It is. It's not too spicy. It's not like Ghostface Killer, which is like another spicy beer. It's like drinkable, but it is like it's fucking hot. I feel like
That
Gibbs is
just
like it.
sounds like the least appealing thing to me is to make beer spicy.
see, the least appealing thing is to make beer hibiscus.
Hibiscus is a wonderful flavor. What's wrong with you?
Not in a beer. Like
I mean, I haven't had it, but I mean,
had hibiscus beer, and it was like the punishment for party foul beers. Like universally agreed on. Nobody liked it. It was garbage.
have any of you guys had Malort? Because Malort is a wonderful liquor that I like to punish people with.
No.
I don't think.
Yes,
I have.
fuck
You know,
for that
when
one, buddy.
Malort has an ingredient in it that's literally called, like, wormwood. That's
No, it
like
is.
apocalyptic, bitter, falling to earth star wormwood. That's fucking gross, man.
No,
You
so it's a
don't-
wormwood schnapps of a Swedish recipe that is the prolific drink in Chicago. And I had one of my good friends has been living in Chicago for years, and for one Christmas, he drove me down a bottle of Malort, and I have been punishing my friends in the area ever since. You're
Modi.
welcome, Kosnark Dame.
Okay, we have
Modi,
a question for
I just
the
want to say you cannot attack the members of the chat.
we have a question. Someone's asking what our generations are. So I will start. I am a 7th gen, and I think that's going to be a common thing.
I'm 8th gen. Yeah.
I am 7th.
I am also 7th. Gotta get that 6th point in a discipline.
I got that 6 point in 2 things.
I only went with 1. 2 just seemed.
Oh, one of my 6 dot.
I am all generations.
One of my 6 dots is basically totally mechanically worthless. It's gonna be great.
Mine is too. For a 6th dot, it's all of your stuff can be done a couple hours later. It's like, okay.
Look, we all know that World of Darkness has some very ranging powers between, oh, the first dot's really cool. Why is the 5th dot completely worthless?
Don't worry,
happens so much.
tell Owen. We don't really do power gaming around here, so if anyone's got 6 dots, it's for flavor, probably more than power.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
True story. Both me and Charred, as the 2 Toreadors who don't really have outside disciplines, because we were given a little bit more freebie points to make our character sheet. Spira gave us this time.
Little more.
Than a lot. Okay, 200. A lot. So just a tad a lot. So what we ended up doing is that we each kind of made a semi-elder like upper ancillary character, and I think both me and Charred have not actually spent all of our freebie points because we didn't know where to put them. Everyone else was like, "Oh man, we ran out so fast."
Well, here's the thing: is I bought 7th generation.
They took generation. They took outside disciplines, which will kill your freebie points. We didn't do that. So we still have like 50 freebie points that we're just like, nah, we don't want them. We're not going to take them. We're done.
At least 50.
We do not power game. We absolutely are like, I don't want to have all this.
Yeah, like I was saying, like I have 6 dots in 2 things, and one of the 2 things is basically mechanically worthless, and I spent the points on it because I have 6 dots in resources. I've been playing the stock market for literally as long as the stock market has existed. But like once you get to 5 dots in resources at this level, money is kind of an abstraction. Like at 5 dots or at 6 dots, I just can be assumed probably to have enough money for the thing. So like I will spend unnecessary points, and I think all of us will spend unnecessary points because it makes sense. Like I was this close to spending unnecessary freebie points so my dogs wouldn't be mutated, so that it would be less mechanically viable because I just want them to be cute puppers.
So first of all, I bought Gen 7 simply because it was like, this is the first game I've had an opportunity to have rank 6 in disciplines, and ended up not taking ranks. Do not have a 6 dot in anything except generation, because I was just trying to make the characters I had it, and was just like, shit, none of that makes sense. And I've also dumped an ungodly amount of freebie points into languages. That Spira may have been, geeking out about earlier today.
I have 4 dots in 3 places, so that's kind of the max I'm running here.
Can we talk about merits and flaws, like what everyone has?
Hold up. There we go. Sorry, button was acting up again. Right before we move into that topic, I just want to let all of our new viewers who haven't maybe necessarily watched New York by Night, we are running V20 as our base game, but since I grew up with first edition, second edition, and revised, I sometimes maybe take a rule that's in V20, but slightly tweak it to an older rule, because I like that better. And we do have a couple house rules, which is pretty common in World of Darkness games and VTM especially. So if anything sounds a little weird, it's probably one of those cases. But if you think like it might be wrong, feel free to mention it in the comments. A couple times I've actually had something a bit confused, and our lovely audience helped us figure it out. But yeah, for the most part, if it sounds a bit off, it's probably because I'm mixing something from an old version or edition, and maybe even a house rule because we decided that's dumb. It shouldn't be done that way. Love White Wolf, love World of Darkness, but occasionally they did it wrong. So if you guys actually want to share your merits and flaws, feel free. You guys are coterie, so you might not know your deepest, darkest secrets, but anything that's on the surface, like being lame, which Zibani took, would be pretty evident.
I guess I'll go ahead and start this entire discussion off because I love my merits. So, just as a baseline, like, as a GM and other things, I'm always a little skeptical about merits and flaws. It's just, in my history of role-playing and other things like that, it's the easiest place for abuse when you do get those power gamers or other people who aren't necessarily respecting the stories as much as they should. That's the first place they attack, so it's always annoyed me a little. So, personally, I have a little bit of hangups about them. But the ones I decided to go with is I didn't take any flaws as Bjorn. Just when I take a merit or flaw, I like to take the ones that are interesting, such as the flaw where your body doesn't heal wounds. So every time you say, get a slash in you, oh god, now I have a gaping wound in my chest, or just like the swarm of flies that constantly follow you around. It's just interesting flaws but they have a lot of baggage with them that just never make sense for several characters that I've played now. So one of these days, I'm going to play one with some really fun flaws. So the merits I took are eat food, because my guy's a skald. He wants to walk into a bar, down a tankard of ale, and it just makes sense for him to be so heavily ingrained into society of humans that he can appear human in so many ways of consuming and other things like that in the merriment. And then, of course, a couple hours later, go behind an alleyway and barf it all up. Enchanting voice, he's always been a very strong storyteller and be able to sway a crowd. And I just felt that this very much reflected on him, is that when he gets into a good story or anything like that, it's just, he carries it along. And the final group of merits, I should say, is he has Polyglot, or natural linguistic. I forget what the actual name of it is. I wrote it down as Polyglot because that's what he is. Because through all of his travels and his love of other cultures, he knows Swedish is his primary language, but then he also knows English, French, Spanish, Italian, German, Greek, Russian, Latin, Hindi, Mandarin, Aramaic, and Japanese from his travels around the world. And that's it for Bjorn.
Yeah, I guess I'll take over there. So, it's funny you mentioned Blush of Health. So kind of part of the deal with my guy was he remained a ghoul because he was good at appearing not ghoulish. So that kind of extended when he got embraced. As a result, he has inoffensive to animals. He has Blush of Health. He has Deceptive Aura. So he cannot all attempts to read his aura show him to be a human. He looks human. Animals don't freak out near him. He also has enchanting voice because he spent a long time as a liar, and that also kind of translated into him being a kindred. I took media ties because he's very, very financially influential, and it's kind of if something really bad happens that's kindred related, the prince can go to him and basically have them publish the news story that's like, kill that, we don't want people knowing that. So he kind of has that ability. But what I'm most happy with is my flaws. So I've got the lame flaw, which is fun. But the other flaw that I wanted is a flaw that does not technically exist in any of the books. And I just want to play a character with this flaw, so I asked Spira. And I have the flaw that I must be invited into someone's home. Like, I have the traditional, I cannot enter a dwelling unless I am invited in. And I am super excited about it. It's not a very, it's not a terrible flaw for me because I'm very charismatically oriented, and worst case scenario, I can make someone invite me in. But I'm usually not going to do that, and I'm very excited to play this character, or this flaw.
I thought the whole thing of the myth of it was that you can't make them invite you in. They have to genuinely invite you in.
No, you can. Even the old Dracula thing was he had to be invited in, but he could be charming enough to make them go, okay.
No, I meant you couldn't go invite me in or I'll burn your fucking house down. That doesn't work.
No, but he has dominate.
Yeah.
I meant by threat of force, yeah. Not dominate, threat of force.
I actually always wanted to try that one, the have to be invited in. That's a good one. Good pick.
I'm excited.
I think in one of the Samishi clan books, there is one that is kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not an actual flaw.
It's similar.
Such a fun one.
I like to think that I make fun out of just never inviting you in half the time.
I was going to say, I'll have to do some digging to see if there is anything that clarifies, and if there isn't, then I'll have to make my own decision of whether it's a one-time invite or if it's a every time invite.
Or is it revocable? Can I be in someone's house and they're like, no, you don't have permission to be here anymore, and I leave?
Yeah, it could be say you went to Dinah's house, she gives the invite the first time, it works from then until she says you're no longer allowed here, and then it's revoked. That'd be an interesting way of doing it, because I feel
and then in the middle of a conversation I just get up and bolt out the door as fast as I can with my crippled little legs.
So there's this episode of True Blood where 3 vampires are arguing in someone's house, and she says, I rescind my invitation, and whatever force knew exactly which one vampire was supposed to leave and dragged them out. And I need you to know that makes my heart happy.
I feel that's more fun than just having to ask every time.
I feel that's more viable in particular, yeah.
Sorry, was I not speaking again? Okay. Yeah, no, my button's being a little bit weird, my push to talk button.
Spirit, do we need to get you a new keyboard? Like, what is it?
No, it's the mouse. I'm probably just not pressing it right. It's fine.
No. It's Discord likes to argue with OBS about who actually is in charge of the push to talk button because they have the same push to talk. So every once in a while, they'll just, and it's weird because it's random, they'll just get in a hissy fit, and it's like, nuh-uh, this time it was only push to talk for me.
Yeah, I've had that fun before.
Yeah, so I have...
The mics are cutting up in and out again.
That's what we were just talking about. They should be okay now. I'm like watching my bar now to make sure it goes up.
But yeah, so I have the lucky merit, the soft... So it says 3 rolls per story. Is a story one of our episodes, or is a story like a full arc? How is that going to work? Yeah. So it just says...
Hey,
was I
Spirit?
muted again?
3 rolls.
That bar's
Okay. Yeah, no, I pressed it like 3 times. It didn't recognize, so I will try to be a little more careful. Sorry, guys. I was telling SuperChocolateBear that there are I think there's 2 different versions of Lucky, and one of them is like storyteller discretion, in which I just give him lower difficulties or something works out well in his favor. And I was saying we could discuss the 2 different ones, but I do kind of recommend the storyteller discussion because I'll throw it out there when it's fun versus only 3 times in an entire story, in which case I don't know exactly how long the story will be. I don't, if it's short, then if he doesn't use them, if it's longer and he uses them up, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I have that, and then that's my only merit, and mostly I just stacked up on flaws. So I have soft-hearted, just because my character is not like an action character. He doesn't want to see anyone hurt. He's just a nice guy. But because of all of his gambling, he has taken some pretty bad losses, and some of those losses involved him taking upon like a curse almost, which is Touch of Frost and Cold Breeze. He also has.
Yeah, I love those flaws. So actually, when I saw your sheet, I was like, nice. Those are really fun because they'll cause maybe some strange interactions with people, but can also just kind of add like a little to the atmosphere and not necessarily give you too much of a hard time. They're flaws, so they'll give you a little trouble, but I think even Lucky and that will balance out in a fun way.
Yeah, when I put those on, I was like, I'm not sure if Spear is gonna like want this. Like, we're playing a serious game, and now just like I have a cold breeze that follows me. Like, I'm not sure how exactly you would like that. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, cold breeze is just like a cold breeze that constantly follows me, right? Even if I go inside.
Yeah, no, it'll be like if you're sitting at a poker table and someone's like walking through the room and it's warm because there's so many people in there like playing games and stuff, and they walk past you, it'll feel like that ghostly idea people talk about. Like, I just felt like I walked through like a cold spot. That's what it's going to be kind of like around you. If you're outside and it's cold, probably not as noticeable, but definitely in a public area and anywhere that is warmer, it'll be kind of noticeable and seem a little strange.
And yeah, that's all I have for merits and flaws.
So I did actually realize that my merits, I have enough that it extends past the merit section, and there is one more that I have. that I forgot that's kind of a big deal. It is that I am unbondable. Blood bonds just don't work on me.
Yes, Zibani had the largest section of merits and flaws, but that was fun. I even did it for New York, where I just wrote like one like index card or like little like paper table that I had like on my drive that I just pull up and be like, what are their merits and flaws again? Because I love when you guys take them, and I always want to make sure I do incorporate them and they don't just like fall by the wayside without being useful and or detrimental. All right, so let me look over again your backgrounds. Again, a lot of this discussion, you know, if you guys come up to me later and say, like, you know, I want to change a detail here or there, that's fine. This is a little bit more of an exploration idea. Elvish, you have, now it's not in backgrounds, but you did take a little bit in politics. So I know that you're like an agent, entertainment liaison. Did you see yourself involved also with the political parties in the city, or you just wanted to have a background in it?
I basically wanted to. She was super involved during the civil rights movement down there when it was like a lot of the race riots and stuff going on. So that was more where her stint of politics comes from. But she hasn't been as involved more recently. She's more been trying to, like I said, expand more of the art scene and whatnot, go back to where they originally had her. But yeah, so that's what she has a passion for. That's what she enjoys doing. So the politics is more of a background thing, but yeah.
Yeah, and then you also have Herd and Fame, obviously tied with you being a performer, I would imagine. Is your Herd couple people you're close to in the arts department?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I got excited because they mentioned Friends on the Other Side, and I love that song.
Yeah. I said you took Herd. Is that going to be Friends in the arts department?
Yes, I was going to have a couple people who are not my ghouls, but essentially like my peeps, you know, that are like that help me coordinate things. People who are very good at organizing schedules and spreadsheets and contacting people.
Nice.
And also a musician or two themselves as well, who are fairly highly thought of. She does still like to do kind of what her sire did to her, which is like find talented artists in the city and like befriend them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you took 2 in Fame, so obviously there's that fun little complicated problem of being famous as a vampire. So I imagine you have maybe like a stage name that you've gotten to be known in New Orleans, at least for this current decade.
Yes. So again, she did have recordings made in like the 20s and stuff like that, and obviously she still looks like herself. But basically, if anyone even recognizes
be your own
that,
impersonator, like
it's not like people people don't super recognize the faces of a lot of like jazz musicians and whatnot nowadays unless they bother to look them up. But like not necessarily by face, but they'll recognize the voice and stuff like that. So it's just it's easier to get away with essentially because she didn't really have her face anywhere. It was just her voice on like records and stuff like that. And so like while they would recognize her voice, they'd be like, "You sound just like blah blah blah," if they happened to know. And she'd be like, "Oh yeah, yep." You know, I get that all the time.
That's what I was saying. Do your own like cover musician impersonation bits as her. I like it.
Pretty much.
Just one of these days, I hope you do a you impersonator competition and don't win.
And then don't win.
Because Charlie Chaplin once lost the Charlie Chaplin impersonation contest.
He wasn't famous enough to inspire stuff like that. But yeah.
No, I'm still picturing that it's going to happen.
Actually, if you had okay fame in New Orleans back then, New Orleans is actually really well known for like forgetting that celebrities like big AAA celebrities exist and just like are super excited about their own celebrities. I was actually looking up crews for Mardi Gras. Crews are the small social groups that run the actual like special floats and parades and stuff like that. And there's one that always choose a celebrity as their king, and it's always been just like a jazz musician from New Orleans. It's never been anybody like outside. Yeah, so yeah, so they have a pretty good tradition of like actually, you know, really lifting up their own than, you know, caring about any kind of Hollywood types and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, so Hope, we did talk a little bit.
She has a really straightforward job for as out of what I want to say cultural norms, hobbies.
Lost her sound again.
Me? Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to my bar. I was asking Hopeless. She said that she has resources in her background, and while a lot of Kindred, it's, you know, they can find interesting ways of getting it. So I wanted to know if our slightly more mortal person had a more weird, interesting way of getting money, or if she had just a job.
She has an incredibly normal job. She is a nurse. However, I do think I might want to move some dots around, maybe from resources to fit backstory in terms of the story that me and Kos were working out between Rebecca and Thea was that he gives her a gift, and I kind of want her to, when she awakens, to imbue that gift with something and make it a magical item. And so yeah, I don't mind moving dots around for that, but the idea in mind was to make it correspondence based, so maybe just like an item that always helps her find her way home or something like that.
All right, great. And then Kosnark, we already talked about Theo's domain status, kind of how that would all be working for him. What about allies? Have you thought in that direction? Took a lot of points for it. Are you just gonna kind of have a bit of a spread, or do you want a better ally?
I do have 5 points in it, so can I have better and a spread?
Yes, we can do a bit of a mix. It's supposed to kind of represent either each dot is a single pretty good contact, or you like double up a couple dots to be a better contact.
So for contacts, the book said 5 dots was...
I know we're talking allies. They're semi-interchangeable, do slightly different things, but similar.
Yes, because I don't think I have allies, per se. I don't think I took dots in it. I don't remember. But anyway, contacts. The book said you have
allies
major...
on your sheet, but maybe you mixed it up.
No, I wanted contacts.
Okay,
but so it said a few major contacts in the city. So whatever that is, I mean, so like the prince is already, I hope, one of my contacts. Kind of.
I wouldn't necessarily put that under the background of contacts. Contacts could potentially be Kindred, but it's usually more someone who can get you information. You would have, especially since you have the same status as the prince, essentially, system-wise, he wouldn't become a contact. He would just, in story, be someone you have a connection with. Contact would be better if it was like someone who works in the mayor's office, or someone who works for a company that you want to get regular background information from.
So it would probably be the other way for contacts. Sorry, for contacts, it would be just kind of ears everywhere. I could pull favors from weird places. Not like, I'm not best friends with the human mayor. I don't give a shit. or like figures of power. It's more like the delivery driver who can get your package kind of, oops, it got delivered somewhere else. Don't know how that happened.
Yes, versus allies where it's more like you can call on them for a direct favor or to come help you. Allies would be good in like a fighting game where you're like, I'm in a scrap, come and like pick me up. Contacts are like, I need to find out this information or at least find out where to buy this type of gun. That sort of thing.
Yeah, Theo has 5 dots in status, so he is equivalent in status to a prince.
He's equivalent. It doesn't mean that he necessarily has like the same powers of the prince. The prince is still the prince, the controller of the traditions, the person who is allowed to actually call bloodhounds, deserves presentation, all that sort of stuff. It's the matter that Theo has been in New Orleans so long, is old, knowledgeable, has commanded respect, so that people know of him. We've been joking around a lot about it over the last couple weeks while we were working on characters, that he's kind of like Varys from Game of Thrones. He isn't, a king or a prince or the hand of, the king, but he commands a lot of respect because of what he knows, what he can do, what he can get done, that sort of thing.
And I also have a large domain, so like a large chunk of, a fairly decently influential chunk of the city is mine. And me and the prince respect each other, so he respects the second, the rules of the Masquerade, the second tradition?
Yeah.
Which is respecting domain, so.
And now, Modi, you have resources and status as well. I believe you have been in the city for a while, so it makes sense. Particularly interested in your choice for a higher mark of status. How would you imagine that Bjorn would have necessarily gained it?
Well, he is relatively old and well-traveled, that the way that I see him having gained the majority of his status is he was in, say, LA for a little while, before the Anarch shitstorm, and been over here, been over there. He might know somebody back in Stockholm or like that. He's just well-traveled and well-versed with various princes. Not that he's particularly powerful anywhere, but it's a lot of small favors all over that he's kind of built a name for himself, especially since he has been in the United States for 150, 200 years, something around there. And that's kind of more the way he operates, is a lot of small things here and there that build up. It's not like Theo, where he owns large portions of one city or anything, but he's traveled and met a large number of people.
Nice. And yeah, resources. Please tell me he just has, like, treasure chests of gold hidden away.
No, it's literally, he started a bank account like 150 years ago, put $50 in it, comes back, and it's just like, hey, you tell me about money. Oh, checks his account. Oh, I have some money in there.
I like it. That's good.
Actually, okay, so that it's a little bit of that and mixed around with, like, he has an apartment in, say, Hong Kong. A very small, like, shack of an apartment, but just a couple of them around the world, and so he has a little bit of, like, money invested that it's not liquid, but just on top of that, he probably literally has a chest full of buried treasure in the middle of the Rockies that only he knows about.
That's all I was asking. Just want to have at least one treasure chest hidden somewhere.
One?
I said at least one.
His sire is literally a Viking. That's all.
Yeah.
7 is at least 1.
Does he wear a torque? Keep a little bit with him at all times?
Yes.
Nice. All right. SCB, SuperChocolateBear. You took resources, which I'm not even going to really ask about. You're a gambler. I get it.
Don't do it. You know it.
But you took fame. Are you thinking essentially famous specifically in the gambling dockets with your racing?
More with gambling and probably the way he became Kindred. I mean, obviously not everyone's still talking about it, but there probably would be a couple of people who still know, like, oh, he's the one who he won it. Like, he didn't earn it. Some people might even look down upon it because obviously we're supposed to be chosen or whatever, but he just kind of fucking stumbled into it. And also, I'm fucking Dinah's MC. So, like, if she's famous, I'm famous. So this is the way it works.
Absolutely. I might even then at a point recommend, say, maybe at least one dot in status, which refers to specifically status among Kindred. So,
okay. Then that's okay. Yes.
You don't have to.
I have enough freebies. Yeah, just put it on there. Who cares?
I would even like award it to you from writing me a book. You know, I like when my characters actually write long stories. So yeah, there would definitely be some interesting thing about that sire who didn't ever expect to ever be in that situation and like, oh crap.
Yeah, probably had some explaining to do. But yeah, the way Abraham is with money, I have
some
freebies,
splaining to do.
If I need points, just put them on there.
Okay, last question I have for SuperChocolateBear. That humanity though, just
yeah, you like that?
I'm curious because if you don't mind my sharing.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So 10 humanity is literally saint. Like the
Right.
Catholic Church would say that you're a saint. 9 is basically a step below that. Basically, anytime you have a selfish thought, you're gonna have to roll your humanity, which is probably gonna be
Really?
section 1. Yeah, it's like really. Actually, let me double check. I think 10 might be selfish thoughts, but
In the meantime, Elvish. And I guess SuperChocolateBear, if you were serious about you two being kind of intertwined. Do you play the French district in poorer parts of the city?
Yeah, I've sung it. I mean, like, I grew up there.
So I would say that if you're okay with it, you've definitely played in some of my clubs, and we definitely know each other.
Oh, for sure, yeah, absolutely.
So, like, we might not be
and I
best friends
coordinate
yet.
other people's events there too. It's not just me. Like, I sing for fun. That's
So
not
we've
my
definitely,
job.
at least on a professional level, had plenty of contact in. So we're not strangers at all. I know
I
you from the
probably
city.
absolutely have sang in a few of your places, though. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
I just enjoy doing
absolutely.
that.
And you probably sang, because again, it's my domain. I make an interest in knowing what's going around there. But yeah, which I'm really free about it. He's not an asshole about it. He just likes to know what's coming and going. And he
Also,
does
Elvis,
like him some
There's also,
jazz.
there's also a non-zero chance that I've owned some of the clubs that you have played in.
Yeah, for sure.
Elvish, we are serious about this, correct?
Oh yeah, for real. No, yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, so I met you both. It's being old makes it so easy to be friends because it's like, well,
'Cause
we've
we
all
met
been
somebody
friends
from
for the
Point.
city.
That real fast, Cos, it does.
real quick to finish my one question was, okay, yeah, so at Humanity 9, the acceptable sin is minor selfish acts. Any injury to another, accidental or otherwise, is call for a roll for humanity degeneration, down to 8. If you want to take that 9, feel free. I think it's a little high, even story-wise, but feel free to take it if you want. You will probably just end up having to roll early on.
If you feel it is too high for my character, because he even has soft-hearted, like he is not a violent person. He doesn't-
I'm totally fine with 8. Because, yeah, no, it makes sense with your character. 9 is just pretty intense. That's usually its own story about reaching that high to try to go on the path to Golconda. 9 is, like, even really crazy for the average human. That's, like, someone who gives up all their money and time to charity at all times. Like, doesn't really care too much to, like, do anything for themselves.
And yeah, let's change that down to 8.
I like 8 though. 8 actually does kind of fit, especially if he's soft-hearted. That's going to be that kind of like, no, I would try and do this for this person over myself. Zibani. You have alternate identity. You did explain some of that already, so I get how that's working. You also have contacts. Did you have Specific things in mind? Just the venture thing, stock
not,
market?
not specific things. It's more just like corporate contacts in the financial industry. Just like definitely mostly rich people through his alternate identity. Actually, nobody no big contacts. Just a bunch of the little kind of I might know a guy who I can then turn around and put pressure on to maybe get some help here. But it's going to be mostly in the richer communities, in the financial industry, the corporate industry. Just, being the financial mogul that he is, he will have met people. He will have done a lot of, schmoozing, because you kind of need to once you get to a certain point.
Oh, damn it! Okay, so now... Jeez, oh my god, it dropped. In the middle of me talking. We'll try to get this fixed better for next time, but anyway.
It's what we get for not having technical difficulties earlier.
Yeah, no, it started fine, so then the rest of the day has to go bad. Yeah. So we're going to have a little bit of out-of-canon role-playing. We're going to drop you guys into a fun little scene just so you can interact a little bit, try your personality, test your voice. I would really like you all to be able to get to do that opportunity before we necessarily jump right into a proper scene next time. So let's say...
Really quick?
Yeah.
Can we get a quick 2-minute before we jump into things?
Absolutely. Go ahead and do that. It'll even give me a second to kind of finalize how I want to do this. So we're going to take just another minute break, and then we're going to have a little bit of role play. It's not going to be super canon to the story, but it is going to let you see a early glimpse into how our players are thinking of their characters' personalities, their interactions. If someone gets slapped in the face, do arm wrestling matches happen suddenly? I heard that earlier, so who knows, maybe.
Baby girl, let me move this dot from core into prime. I'm sorry and I love you. Did I mention your hair looks nice?
Thank you.
I
have done nothing with it. You wanted to what?
Move it dot from from core into prime.
I told you dots can be moved around as long as they make the same amount of sense point-wise before the game starts, and I even give a session or so after that for us to discuss if you realize that wasn't what I wanted in my character.
Okay.
I have certainly done it with NPCs, I've done it with PCs, oh wait, no, I literally meant this one. I don't know why I filled it out in that section. I forget what it was, but for the one I do in a text game, I wanted performance. And I think I put it in, crafts. I was like, why did I... No, she's like a dancer and an entertainer. I don't know why. I think, I did it by accident.
By the way, though, Hope.
Mm-hmm.
I got your squishy little easily killed mage back though.
Thanks.
So I did Spira let me get all my combo discipline, so I do have the gristly gree bag. So if you eat a small part of me, you get my fortitude or thanatosis in soak.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Ah! But 6 points of fucking soak. Holy shit. Or no, four.
I
4
almost
points
made
of soak.
eating food one of her practices.
So Hope, I have a question. Are you going to go with Prime 4 or Correspondence 4?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think this is the most important question for Hope. What are your thoughts about dropping massive amounts of acid and letting me drink from you so that I can share the experience?
Oh, no, it kind of depends. It kind of depends, because she would love to share that experience. However, the kiss is kind of a dangerous, like she doesn't do meth.
I mean, the kiss in of itself is its own experience.
Right?
I was going to say, is that a new experience for her?
But it's like meth, bro. It might feel really good, but it's also kind of a line. I mean, she might just cut herself and let you drink from that.
Dude, I would be totally fine with that. I just want to get high.
Right? Or, and hear me out, mind 3, because she does have mind magic, to share experience, like exactly this scenario, and just let you feel that.
Which would probably work better than the feeding.
Yeah, it'll feel
because you don't get the
exactly how
diluted
she
blood
feels it.
high.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it depends.
It depends. The culminant answer to anything in World of Darkness. How does this work? When did this happen? It depends.
But yeah, she is absolutely all about sharing that kind of high with people. And if she can do it with a vampire, she probably would.
Bjorn's down.
Abraham is surprisingly white bread.
Is it surprising? Oh, well, he's black. Sorry.
Hey, Bjorn, he goes into bars and drinks and stuff, right? Does he like partying? What's that about?
Yeah, sure.
Is it like I am a tavern boy, or like can he?
Bjorn's not old-fashioned, if that's what you mean. No, he's adapted. He likes being a party, but he likes to especially be in a place where he's able to, get a little bit of attention to himself.
Okay.
No.
Yeah?
So, let's say that all of you have at least heard murmurings, if not a word or two from the prince, that he's interested in you being involved with some of the help with Mardi Gras, making sure things go smoothly and your best talents are put to use. Save Rebecca. So Theo's gonna have, his use with all of his little, birdies around town. Bjorn is just a useful member and connected with Theo. Obviously, Dinah and Luther as Toreador are gonna have, some usefulness. Abraham Aventru. And so all of you are expecting you're gonna be kind of pulled into this. And Rebecca, you would have maybe heard about these special kindred goings-on from speaking with Theo one late evening. So Dinah and Luther, who were, setting up a venue in a small little bar, trying to get something set up for a bit of a fun gambling and music night. Late at night, the place is closed because you're still trying to get it set up. Invite the rest of the gang to come and discuss what they expect might be coming up with Mardi Gras and have a nice little, fun game of cards.
And no one else is there that we've invited, or what are we doing?
We'll have them show up.
And is Dinah planning on singing at this venue tonight?
Right now, the place is empty. It's just you two sitting at a table waiting for the others to show up.
Okay.
Okay.
Dinah, do you actually think that somebody is gonna try something over Mardi Gras?
I mean, they usually do. It's something always ends up happening that's not quite savory. So you just have to keep an eye on it.
I know I'm forced into this, but I just don't know what the prince is exactly expecting of me.
Honestly, just being another pair of eyes is helpful.
Well, I guess I got 2 of those, but it's not much else I could rightly do.
I know what you mean. All I can really do is keep an eye out on the art venues, but not anyone's likely to plan an assassination from there.
Mike's muted? Is that true? No, I can hear you. All right. Luther is like fidgeting with a deck of cards, which is pretty normal. Then you see him start to kind of just like deal them out on the table. I mean, unless somebody challenges us to a game, I don't know. I guess I'll keep.
You're gonna be better bored, is what you're gonna be.
What is Dinah's last name? That's important
Williamson.
for me.
Might.
Williamson?
No, it's definitely might.
Yeah, it's William.
Definitely Dinah might.
No,
Sorry, yeah, I think I had another audio problem real quick. We're starting a little bit of a role-playing scene. Everybody has heard something that along the lines that the prince is going to be asking them for favors and help during Mardi Gras. So they're gathering at a small bar that Dinah and Luther are setting up for a big show the next night. It's currently empty, just the 2 of them at a bar waiting for the others, and they're just discussing their thoughts about what the prince is asking.
Are you going to call out when we enter, or...?
Yes, actually, this is a perfect spot for Zibani as Abraham the Ventru to come limping on in. Do you have your puppers with you?
I mean, I'm at a bar. Like probably not. As much as I love them,
just slip a service vest on them. They'll let you in anywhere. They're legally obligated to.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Get a ticket? Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
I am above the law, legally speaking.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can get away with murder.
One of them's got over a century of training, so he should be good.
Okay. See, the problem with that, and I haven't come up with their names yet. That is something I need to do. But the problem with that is the one that's 130 years old is a giant fucking pillow. That's all he wants to do is just sleep forever. That's why Abraham got him. So sadly, as much as I want them to be here...
He needs a soft name, then.
Wilbur.
Rebecca's cat's here, with the service animal vest on it.
Of course it is.
Alright, but as Luther and Dinah are discussing their initial thoughts about what the prince is asking, Abraham comes walking into the bar.
Dinah will stand up and kind of like walk over to him, like all smiles, be like, "Abraham, good to see you. You're here tonight too, huh?"
Oh yeah, Lufa, Dinah.
Luther will also stand up with Dinah and come over there. Abraham, it is always a pleasure to see you.
So just the 2 of you so far?
Yeah, honey.
Yeah, so far you're the first.
Well, I'm going to take a load off.
I'd like to say that Abraham invited me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to say that Theo invited me.
I was gonna have Theo and Rebecca show up together.
You're the puppy on a leash here, huh?
So I guess I'm the last to show up.
She's more the young
You were
girl
busy
with
drinking.
a vicious attack dog at her side, and that's me.
Yeah, so
And
she's
the
still
vicious
the young
cat.
girl in that equation. That's my point.
She is the youngest, but like, holy moly, man.
Sorry, bro.
Alright, so yeah,
I'm sure you can drink all our asses.
Short while later, Theo and Rebecca will arrive. Theo, are you gonna be a naughty boy, or are you gonna use that mask of 1,000 faces?
How far is it off my domain?
It's gonna be a little more in actually one of the quarters, because it's a bar that Dinah's trying to set up. She wants to be in a more affluential area.
Yeah, I'll probably be in full mask this time.
You can drop when you get in.
Oh no, but going through more populated or affluent areas, he's in full mask, just to not. He tries not to piss off the prince every day. But no, I'll be in full mask, wearing sort of like, wearing his makeup, like Mardi Gras-esque kind of makeup, just having a good time walking with his young mageling friend. Oh, I didn't mention earlier, but he pretty much always walks around in a suit and tie, despite looking like rot. Just old
That's
school,
actually-
like old
Gotta
timey.
look your best, man.
That's actually kind of pretty common for the Zibani. So the interesting thing is a lot of Nosferatu embrace that whole like gross sewer rat thing. They'll wear ratty clothes, not even like necessarily on purpose, but they just don't care. They're like, whatever. I just want to cover my genitals, I guess. Zibani, however, kind of take this extra step where they still like to look nice and dapper, even though they know they are rotting.
And despite the protest of everybody around him who cares about him, he still wears a goddamn top hat. But yeah, so he'll be walking with, he'll kind of like slam open the door and look at everyone there and go, "Everyone, dinner's here!" And like put his arm out to let the
To let Rebecca in.
thank you, Rebecca. Yes.
He's just gonna stand in the doorway for a good moment, processing what he's said and what that means.
Kind of
Abraham is going to sigh very loudly.
Dinah kind of leans over to Luther and goes, "Is he being serious this time or not? Because I could never tell."
While Abraham is...
Abraham, I heard that. Hush, hush.
I
hush,
know.
Hush. Come. He's gonna like lean over to her, like, come on, come
All
inside.
right, well, I'm getting drunk, so...
So I know.
Don't
Or drunk
brag.
from that, yes.
Have we met Rebecca yet? Is she been?
I'm gonna say Abraham has. You two haven't though.
Okay. I'll lean over to Dinah. I'm not sure. I wasn't planning on all of us eating one person.
Just because I lost my ears doesn't mean I can't hear. Come, child. Let's go inside.
Yeah, she's just gonna wave and then go to the bar.
He's gonna like run in front of you as you walk in and like drop down in front of you. Everyone, this is. What was your name again, child? Oh, Becca.
This is my Uncle Theo.
Her name is not that hard.
Be quiet, Abracus, whatever you are.
Abracus, that's a different one than what he did last week.
His name is Abacus? Are you good with
Yes, like
numbers?
the math thing. Yes.
Oh,
Okay, we've met.
have we
You and
met?
I- yes, you and I have met.
You two, you know Abraham.
That's why I'm like, her name is not that hard.
Luther, that is my name. He would go up and shake Rebecca's hand.
Yeah, no, she'll shake it super friendly, and yeah, I'm gonna go and get a drink with my human functioning digestive system.
It
so
would
I'll be right back.
so not bleh. It would be like ice cold when you shake my hand because I have
Yeah,
such a
no, but like she
so you
just
know.
got introduced by like dead.
Right, no, I
vampire.
understand. He's a monster.
Good to clarify, though.
But yeah, no, she will shake it super friendly and try not to shiver reflexively. Like, make the attempt.
Nice to meet you.
Do they serve? Can I get you something? Do they serve something?
No, I don't think there's anything they have for me. Don't worry.
I will step in as omnipotent storyteller and say that Dinah will have stuff there later, but it's not there yet.
I mean, the only thing we can take is you brought with you, so...
Shush, stay away from dessert.
Oh,
I want you to know I am not even a la carte, so please keep your hands to yourself.
you might ask, why?
Why am I not a la carte? Because
No, I asked Theo. I
Oh,
said
excuse
Theo.
me.
Yeah, there you go.
Why? All good parties need food. Come on. I jest. This is... What are you exactly?
My name's Rebecca.
Her name is
No,
Rebecca.
I know your name. What is this? What are we doing? I don't know.
Oh, we're
No, but
talking.
what are
It's a
you doing?
conversation.
Yarr.
You're trying really hard to introduce me, and I really appreciate the effort.
No, I know what I'm doing. I said, what are we? This, my friend, child, a magic user.
I really want to be sarcastic, but I don't know if it's canon or whatever, but she's just gonna go another one, huh? But, like, not realizing that it's legit. Like, assuming that Theo has brought, like, new voodoo students in.
Are you neo-pagan or Wiccan?
Right? It's like,
He's gonna run up to you as you
I'm
accuse
like
him that.
Professor X, but for alcohol, so please, I will be right back.
He's gonna like run up to you as you accuse him of this one. He's like, no, this one's real, I promise. Watch, she does card tricks.
Did this one bring her astrology cards?
Yeah,
too?
No.
Can she have
Terrible.
a pack of cards in her bag? I want her to actually have them.
I mean, do you have entropy? Because maybe.
I was gonna say,
No,
like,
correspondence,
sweetie, I feel like you could probably conjure some up.
right? Yeah. I'll roll for that if I have to.
No, you know what? I'm okay if that seems like something you'd probably have on you. If you got a big rucksack of fun toys.
She probably has like a big girl bag,
especially because Mardi Gras.
right? Like a giant girl bag with a bunch of stupid shit, like cards.
Do you actually pull out a deck of cards?
Yeah, she'll pull out a deck of cards. On her, she's still walking to the bar, but she'll pull it out.
See, I told you, look, magic.
Ta-da!
Fucking Luther will let out a laugh, and he'll show you his deck. That's not magic. That is just having.
You too, this whole time I didn't know.
No, it is. If you zoom out enough. I'm sorry, she doesn't say that, but I really want her to. I mean, think about it. What is magic really?
So,
As you guys, real quick, as you guys are enjoying Theo's performance and Rebecca's desperate need to get toward that bar, Bjorn walks into the bar, his big techno Viking self.
So he techno Vikings into the bar. I'm joking. No, he just walks into the bar, nonchalantly, just, hey guys. Immediately walks behind the actual bar top itself, starts rummaging around the bottles and finds a bottle of bourbon that he finds suitable, grabs a pint glass from behind the bar and walks over to the table where he will sit down, open the bourbon, and pour an entire pint of bourbon for himself.
That's why you took eat food.
Gross.
Which he'll start just swigging from, just as if it was water.
Abraham's gonna just under his breath say, show off.
Oh, that's brilliant. I was looking at that, I was like, why did he want to eat food specifically? Perfect.
Is the back of the bar empty? Like, is no one back there? Did they just let that happen?
The bar is closed. Dinah has control of it because she's getting it set up.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So, I'm sorry. I missed that part. So I knew it was closed. I just thought that there were maybe still some people. But so
just you guys.
If Becca had been saying that she wants a drink, like Dinah will like take her to the bar and get her a drink.
Yeah, no. If she can have any liberty, she will try and make the girliest drink possible.
When I see Bjorn pulling that bottle out and doing that, I'm gonna like drop mask real fast, run like tilting forward, like run at the bar, swipe a bottle, sit next to him, and go, I can show off I can do it too, and stick it out through his cheek and just let it pour on the floor next to him.
I like the picture that it just happens to be like the most expensive bottle of bourbon there.
Y'all stop wasting the bourbon.
So, Theo, it's a good year, right?
Yeah, but it's not.
Do you taste the subtle hints of the oak and the maple in there? It was a really good year.
$70 bottle of whiskey you got there, please put it down.
Shut up, you dwarf-sounding bastard! He's gonna open his arms to hug you.
He'll stand up and just fully bear hug embrace. You might even hear old crinking in a pop as he gives Theo a nice solid hug. Sets him back down.
Where are my pretzels?
You know, the laugh. Ah, Theo, it's good to see you.
So
Dina, how have you been?
Dinah.
Wonderful,
Dinah.
I found a pack.
So sorry I'll get it so wrong until we actually start next week.
No, it's okay.
Dinah.
That can just be a running joke, man. You can just never say my name right all the time. So
Hey, Deirdre.
So, Dana, how have you been? Thank you
Hey,
for
Denise.
hosting us tonight.
Deirdre.
D-nice.
Dana.
Dina.
Hey,
Money.
Ron.
So, Rebecca's gonna come back over and, sit down with like a bright pinkish orangish, like a neon glowing girly drink. And, visibly cringe if she hears that cracking sound from that hug. Ew.
The second Bjorn lets go, he's gonna like eye everyone and like look at the glass and point at it like it's magic. Like, look, I tell you, look, it's glowing. It's real magic.
Theo, obviously everyone is welcome in the club, but maybe you could give us some kind of, reason as to why you brought her here. No offense, honey.
It's okay. I am here for the magic tricks, so.
I'm gonna look up, just so I can lean over to Becca.
That is the passing of the lotus. Do you know the passing of the lotus?
Here we go again.
No, tell me what I would love to know.
So it's
Becca, no!
this fantastic trick I have seen before. So it starts. I'm sorry. Do you have a bushka?
Oh, what now?
Like
Never
a
mind. I'll
handkerchief.
explain it later. We
Probably some kind of Norwegian diphthong. Who knows?
You wish.
I don't think you know what a diphthong is.
She's magic. That's
And-
why
and
she's here.
And
This
the
drink
rest of
is
us aren't.
really good, so that's magic in a way.
I don't think I've seen anything that color since the last time I saw the sun. So I'm impressed, for one.
Rebecca, can I see a deck of cards, please?
Oh, sure. She'll hand him over.
He'll take them and he'll just, without even looking at him, he'll just slide them, like lay him out flat, face down, and put his finger on one. Can you tell me which this card is, please?
Yeah, I can.
Well,
It's a bicycle brand.
Theo is literally on the table on both elbows.
I'm pretty sure that card is going to be the ace of clubs. Absolutely.
They're not normal decks of cards. They're whatever deck
It's
of
a
cards.
pinnacle deck.
Oh, Lord.
Tarot cards?
Yes, they're tarot cards.
Oh, in that case, it is the devil. I'm pretty sure you've pulled the devil.
These
Definitely the
are
hanging man.
playing cards. She doesn't keep tarot cards on her. At
What?
least
I
not
thought
right
you
now.
had tarot cards.
No, they're playing cards. They're the 52 pickup kind.
Then I stick by
That's
my
what she-
ace of clubs.
Yeah. I want to do a magic. Let me do a magic so it can be the ace of clubs.
Sphere is gone. Do you have to roll for that?
Yeah, I do.
We'll roll it. Do you know the roll?
I do.
Probably
But
better
I
than Sphere
I
does,
want to
so.
see if I can have permission. Because she doesn't have entropy, so she can't do it by chance. She has to physically change the facing of the card, which can be coincidental, but it can also be vulgar.
Kosnark, get her. What are you doing?
What? Huh?
Get your wife. What are you doing?
We could just. She's fine. It's fine.
So it is about to be January 10th. Why do you still have a Christmas tree behind you?
Dude,
That is a pine tree. I don't see Christmas lights.
Yeah,
Listen.
it's a pine tree.
Thing one,
That's a house
this
tree.
thing is dangerous as shit.
It's not a
Touch
pine
it
tree. That is a fir
immensely
tree.
painful. Yeah, it is immensely
Don't really
painful
care.
to touch
They're
that
all
thing.
fine.
If you zoom
And-
out enough.
And if you touch it, it instantly rains death on the floor. And I was like, I'm not doing it tonight, so I didn't.
You know what? I don't want to magic the thing. You just keep going.
What? No, you have to prove it.
I have decided against.
So you don't want to play the game.
Well, he was the one who guessed. I don't know how this is proving that
It's
I'm
the ace
magic.
of clubs. It can be absolutely nothing else.
I mean, like, to be
Yeah.
fair, out of character, you could be like, no, this one's the ace of clubs. And that's something you totally have within you.
Oh my god. No. That's so much worse. Hey, Spira, let me magic a thing.
Yes. Tell me what you want to do.
I want to make the ace of clubs in my purse.
Okay. I still need to refresh myself on mage. So, but also for our audience, who some of them might not know mage as well, just explain what you're doing.
Yeah. So Matter 2 is base transmutation, and when you combine it with Prime 2, which is base creation.
I basically had it right. I'm so excited.
No, Zibani had it right. You have it right. Matter 2 Prime 2 is to make an object into being. She wants to make the Ace of Clubs, and I'm hoping to make it coincidental because one of those cards could have fallen out in her purse. I mean, of course it's not as soon as the next, that card gets lifted, so she's going to wait until he reveals whatever card it is to be like, no, the Ace of Clubs is right here.
And is that a roll or just you have your... Okay, all right, go ahead. And if you're in our channel, which should be... Yep, go ahead.
I do need to know if you are going to count it as coincidental or vulgar because it changes the difficulty.
So the consequential is that it could have possibly fallen out. Vulgar is...
Someone looks at what you've done and says, that's impossible.
And it's card tricks, so...
I mean, you kind of expect the impossible with card tricks, so there's a little bit more coincidental when it comes to card tricks.
I was going to say, no one's going to look at anyone who's doing card tricks and be like, there's no way, there's two, whatever.
Demon!
Unless you're like a
Witch hunt!
professional magician.
Alright, I'm definitely going to say consequential unless you want the possibility that they search and can't find the other. If you know what I mean?
Yes. So, when it comes to vulgarity in magic, vampire opinions don't count. You have to basically assume that there is a human in the room at the moment that it's being done and say, does that human believe it?
Okay, alright, then definitely consequential. Our first roll.
This is non-canon.
Yes, but it's still
You
sort of...
don't have the first roll to lick somebody.
I mean, I have the first roll in the channel, so...
Alright, so...
That doesn't count, Zibani.
It so does. I got a 9.
No,
so
it doesn't.
To explain how difficulty works, coincidental gives your base difficulty 3, and then it's plus the highest sphere that you used, so 2. So the difficulty is 5.
Okay.
3.
I mean, nah.
Nice.
3 successes.
Alright, yeah. You definitely succeed perfectly fine.
Yeah, but she's waiting until basically he flips the card, because she won't do it then.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, he'll give you eyebrows up and point at this card and slowly flip it. And Spear, what card is it? Doesn't matter.
It's
yeah,
already
no,
the Ace of Clubs.
It's the 7 of Hearts.
No. This is the Ace of Clubs. Yeah, she'll just pull it out of her purse.
Luther will gleefully clap his hands.
Theo.
Well, Theo, look at that.
That's fantastic.
He's
Where'd
gonna
you
slam
learn
on a
that?
table. I told you!
No, where did you?
Where did
I've seen similar tricks before. This reminds me of one that I saw while I was in Bangladesh one winter. Where'd you learn that?
Hey, Spira, can I use Auspex?
You can do whatever you want, darling.
Not canon. I'll erase this.
That's
You
fine.
want... Yeah, no. You want, 2?
See the auras?
Yeah.
Or-
That'll be perception empathy. God, it's been a while. Where's my
Aspects 4, I
thing?
want to read her mind and know
I
if she's
thought
full of
it's-
it.
Is it empathy or awareness?
Perception empathy at difficulty 8.
It's empathy.
Okay.
Yeah. I was sure, and then I went like, God, it's been like a month.
It's empathy.
A month shouldn't be that bad on something that I roll all the time myself.
Yeah, so to Bjorn. This is a magical
Oh, I rolled a d10 plus 7 instead of 7d10. I'm sorry.
While
fix
she's doing
that.
that, and Rebecca does, and I'm going to say, as cool as that was, from what I've heard of your people, was a little underwhelming. Where are the fireballs?
Fireballs. What magic shows do you go to, Abraham?
I'm gonna elbow Abraham. Oh wait, is Abraham sitting with us, or are you still standing off to somewhere else?
No, I haven't been standing since the moment I got here. My legs hurt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna
got shitty
elbow
legs.
Abraham and go, shut up! We don't all need to go rush-wrecking around the goddamn place.
To Bjorn, should be like, would you like to see how I did it?
Modi.
Sorry, I was lost in chat. Could you
Used to
repeat that?
Nate.
Yeah. You were asking, how I saw something like that in Bangladesh. How exactly? And she was like, would you like to see how I did it?
Yes, absolutely. I'm always open for news, to learn new things.
Oh. A little anxious, but mostly
Drunk.
content. She's not drunk yet. She hasn't even taken a sip.
I'm talking.
Elvish, you're gonna see kind of a purpley vermilion color that kind of like shows like content, happiness. She's just kind of enjoying herself. It's definitely not dead. She is not Kindred. It's not pale enough for it. She seems more mortal. But there's kind of this weird sparkly kind of note in her aura that you haven't recognized in anyone before.
Huh. Okay. Huh. Do I know if Luther has aspects or not? I just don't know, like, to the extent we know each other's clans and like disciplines and stuff.
Oh, me and you are best friends, and you know don't have that.
You don't have aspects. You do not. You didn't take it. Okay.
While Becca is doing her sort of card trick, you see Theo kind of hunched over to the side, like underneath the table a little bit, doing something on his arm, and then he's like, "Me, I can do one. Watch this, Bjorn." He's gonna smack Bjorn on the shoulder.
I'm looking away, and she says that as she looks away. She knows exactly where this is going.
Bjorn.
Yes?
Look, ready? No coin. He's gonna pull a coin out. Ha! Look! Magic!
It's Rebecca's time to...
Bjorn just stares at Thea with the, just like, least in... And takes another huge swig of his whiskey and sets it down.
You would know that Theo has a huge habit of storing little bits in his nasty, rotted skin and pulling it out later. So you would know it's not magic. He's like, look!
Yeah, no, she's gonna
I'm sorry,
write-
did you
Very well
learn
done.
any discipline when I wasn't watching?
Could have always
That
known
went
this.
exactly where I thought it was going to go.
And he's gonna look, nothing up the sleeve, and pull like a sack of skin down that opens up.
God damn it.
Some of us are trying to drink here, Theo. Can you at least keep all of your body parts in
You
one
are-
place?
You are not even gonna keep that. Can I please have the rest of that? Please.
Listen, when I'm this age, when you're this age, you lose parts.
I'm sorry. When
I'm
were you
going to let
born?
you know I
When
am
was
that
Theo
age, I have
born?
not lost a single part.
Listen,
not one.
you wake up.
No, really
when
quick,
you're
guys.
when you're 50 years old and you're an old man, you lose parts, and sometimes you have to look. It's fine.
When was Theo born? Because this is something I'm pretty sure I would have learned by now.
He's like 280 years old, so...
Theo! I'm older than you! Do you even remember the 17th century?
I just
Of course.
assumed there was nothing to remember. I wasn't born yet, couldn't have been that fucking great.
Abraham, were you saying something?
I think you're
Zibani?
disgusted with them.
Because it definitely sounded like you said Rev.
I said
No, she said
Abraham.
Oh, I'm so not used to that name in my head.
Get used to it, baby.
One thing. Any chance I could see that card?
Sure.
Luther will also do like, the poker or the card deck trick where you take like the end card and you flip it and it does like a wave where they all flip upside down.
But yeah, I want to actually spirits touch this. I want to see the history of this card and see what I can tell.
Nice. Let me double check.
Based
I'm gonna,
on
like-
the chart you gave me, it's perception, empathy versus something.
We'll just go with 6. It's just it's the average difficulty.
So I like to think that Theo got the wrong idea about the whole mage trinket thing because you told him the story, and he kind of gets it a little wrong, so he keeps giving you things, and he's gonna give you the coin that he just pulled out and go, here, for your magic. And
No,
slap
she'll
it right
keep
in your
it.
hand.
She'll fucking keep them, man. She'll try to
Oh, no,
do her
that's-
best with them.
Yeah, that's a real gold Spanish doubloon, and he's gonna look over at Abraham and just do this. Don't worry, it's his money.
Nice. Let me try and pull up the thing that actually explains. I mean, I vaguely know, but I want to try and get a better answer for that many successes.
Mm-hmm. Didn't realize I was this good at this. Because that's for the people who can't see the roll. That's 8 successes on knowing the history of a thing.
I'm just sad because
Is the
Bjorn's
Roblox not on
Bjorn
this one?
is no longer on the screen anymore.
Yeah, it's
man.
bottom left.
Yeah, it's on there. What are you talking about?
Okay, no, he said for anyone who couldn't see, but I forgot we're also supposed to be doing, let's try to be better, good, about calling out rolls, because I'm going to podcast it, because someone else is getting some decent views podcasting all of our stuff.
So we might as well get
We've had a few people say like, I only actually listen to you guys because I'm driving in or I'm at work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to work on that.
No, I'm not mad about it, because we're not, so like, I'm not going to bitch about it, but
Okay.
like, this is a good place to start to be good about that.
Calling out numbers, you mean?
So an exceptional success, which 5 definitely is, means you have a comprehensive or extended chronological understanding of the event and its participants related to the item. Possibly like a slideshow of images, maybe like a little like fast flash of like of a memory. So yeah, when you touch that coin, you'll get a very detailed thing. So Theo, if that's your coin, you gotta tell me.
the card.
The card.
That
Okay.
magically that she's claiming is magic.
Then Hope, that's something else you'll have to explain because I don't know if that actually technically has a history.
That's not.
It's not just like floating in
just
space
like
and then
its history is however many seconds old that it is.
So you kind of get this idea. You don't necessarily understand how, but you understand that it didn't exist before she reached into her purse, like, to get it.
And then I will like kind of make a face and say I lied. That was very impressive.
Also, I flipped the cards face up. I'm assuming I would just see the
The second you
doppelganger
flip
card.
them, she's going to stuff the card in.
So, wait, you're stuffing the other card? in?
She's stuffing her double ace of clubs into the
Funny
pile
thing
as
is,
soon as
he
you
has a
flip 'em.
red bicycle deck and yours is blue.
Yeah. Well, I wanted it to be red, but like, fine.
No, I'm just...
Wait, you're trying to shove a card into a deck while he's shuffling it?
Well,
No,
he
I'm
just
not
said he was
shuffling it.
flipping
I
them.
just
He did the flip.
put all the cards up or face up. So now
Well,
they're
you like spread them and then...
Yeah, exactly. So they're spread out along the table so you can see every single card and they are face up.
Yep, she's just gonna stuff it.
Yeah, but now there's just 2 aces
I mean,
of
they're
the
not
same
they're
suit.
probably not right next to each other.
No, they're not. But he will see that there are 2 aces if that's what you want to do.
Oh, I must be a duplicate.
Well,
Weird coincidence.
Whatever it is, and he'll collect them and hand them back to you nicely. It is quite the trick. And please do not ever play cards at a table I am sitting at. He'll laugh and wink at you. He means it nicely.
Yeah.
So, all of these cards and all of these tricks are fun and all, but I'm pretty sure that we were all summoned here tonight under more important pretenses. So, why are we all gathered here tonight? I'm a little curious to know.
Well, do you mean that in more of a what can we do to solve the issue, or are you asking literally why are we here?
I was given a time and a place. So Thea, maybe you need to explain why I'm here, because I took this on good faith that this was important for me.
He's gonna yank his arm out of the pocket that is now basically a sleeve under his arm. What? What?
Little bits of flesh fly.
Yeah, no, like a little bit of like ichor, just like. Bleh. Stop it, child! Stop
I
making
feel like
that
at this
face.
point, I just have a handkerchief ready for when you get me with that. Just.
I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
Not your problem.
Yes. There's holes in my brain. Okay. Anyway, this is a mage.
She holds the cards back up. Ta-da!
Oh, no! Sorry, Bjorn, yes! The Prince, the Mardi Gras, again. As you know, it's rather a big deal in this city. I don't know if you've noticed. In the last 100 years, I've had the unfortune of knowing you bastards. Mardi Gras is coming up.
200 unfortunate years.
You don't count it.
Wait. Are you trying to say that Mardi Gras is a big event in New Orleans?
I know, it's weird, right? But it is. So
This is news to me. I've yet to hear this in my many years spent in the city.
If I ever told you you're bad at sarcasm, you Swedish dipshit.
He's very good at unnecessary sarcasm, though.
Please continue, though. Pretend like I haven't heard this before.
The prince and I were talking, and... Oh, yes, Mardi Gras is coming up. So, we have to...
You get forgetful in your old age.
Oh, no, this is totally a part of the...
I know.
I was serious when I said there are holes in his brain.
I know.
We have to defend the city. It gets so busy around this time that we need to help each other. I have brought my friend here. She found me, but I think this will be fun. The rest of you, we have to do what the prince says, make sure, I don't know, the city doesn't burn down or something.
Well, what it is that Mardi Gras is one of the only times of the year that any kindred coming into the city do not have to present themselves to the prince. So we need basically more eyes and ears looking out for people showing up. They're free to come in and go, but they need to have a sharp eye out on them in order to keep from ruckus happening.
And as much as I hate that.
I mean, the prince has already spoken to me, and we've made it clear that any of these children coming into the city with a little bit too much of bloodthirst upon them shall be kept in line. Is there anything else that should be made aware of?
Well, as much as it pains me, at this time of year, as you might recall, it's a bit harder for me to keep track of my land. So I would also like your help in making sure that this mess doesn't spill over, and it's in all of our mutual benefit to make sure I am protected, the prince is protected, you are all protected, and we keep the dirty fucking Setites out of here, because I am so ready to kill every last one of them.
Listen, as far as it concerns about bashing in a few heads of any upstart children who decide that they forget the rules that we live under, trust me, I'll be more than happy to keep them in line.
Luther will look at Dinah and back at the table. Well, as far as bashing any heads in goes, I think, not to speak out of line, but I feel like maybe that's not exactly our part.
It isn't.
Eyes and ears, eyes and ears, eyes. Like
So,
you said.
what will y'all be doing?
I helped try to organize events in the city staggered enough that I spread out anything that might maybe potentially cause a problem, so it's not going to be concentrated. And aside from that, we have various different artists play in different places. We have security in other places, but mainly we just need to be, at this point, just looking through crowds and trying to pick out people who look like they might be causing trouble. That's literally it.
Obviously, protecting everyone is the number one goal, but if there is a troublemaker, I'll let somebody like you or someone like Theo know, and you guys can do the handling of that situation.
Yes, they are easy to stop, if not beat. Because I'm not exactly going to chase them down. Oh no! What ran away? Who am I?
Moody!
Nice.
Moody!
I am Ibrahim.
Moody!
What?
Me and
I don't even know what
Bjorn.
I'm half. I'm
This
half
is-
Theo.
It's the forehead special. It's the forehead and neck special.
I get to
This
be
is-
half me.
Look, all of you live people, you would have not gotten this if you weren't here right now. Just focus on our foreheads and necks.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I'm just
see all the things that you miss.
Or I'm gonna go up here so I'm visible and present, just like hanging up here.
Modi?
He's not in the chat right now.
Okay. I'm gonna assume his pooted.
Nice, don't whine. And
He put on Discord.
Yeah, but he has
Internet died.
Discord on his mobile phone as well, so he might still say that.
Internet just
Yeah.
died. Okay.
Oh, his
So I
internet's
It's okay. I'm Ghoul Grandpa now.
I don't know how long that'll take. I'll scoot the cameras around for now.
Yeah, I would say yes. That.
Yes, please.
We could just say maybe that pint hit him a little bit too hard. He had to go to the bathroom. Oh,
He was over there. Hold on, guys. I have to throw this up.
so hold on. If he eats and drinks, does he still have to go to the bathroom?
No, he has
No,
to
he
throw
throws
it
it
up.
up.
He has to
He
throw
has
it up
to throw it up.
eventually, but he can
Vampires
enjoy
that-
it until then.
Are essentially bulimic. Like they can eat, but then they have to throw it up later.
What happens if a vampire normally eats it?
He throws
They
it up.
immediately
Anyone
throw it up.
anyone
It tastes
without
terrible.
anyone without the actual merit eat food will pretty much throw it up immediately. You might be able to hold it for like a minute.
Though
that's
if
it.
you can spend a blood dot for the blush of health ability that lets you, I believe, for a little while simulate that you can eat. I thought that's one of the abilities you can do.
Yeah, it's either that or willpower. Like, you can hold it down if you spend that, but traditionally, if you don't do anything and you eat food or drink liquid other than blood, you're gonna pretty much almost immediately throw it up. Like, you can maybe hold it for a minute without spending blood or willpower, but it's gonna come up. Eat food allows you to hold it pretty much as long as you want, but you still have to expel it, because otherwise it's just sitting in your belly.
Mody's back on Discord.
Is he?
Oh, good. I shouldn't have resized those windows.
Please.
That's gonna take more work now.
No, guys. I just joined on my mobile so I can listen, but it looks like my internet is dead. My router's coming up with all sorts of warnings, so I don't think I'm coming back.
Okay,
Nice.
I will I will fix our cameras for now.
See you later then, Bjorn.
Bye, buddy. It was fun.
Why are you
What
leaving
kind
so
of
quick?
lightweight are you? You had some scotch and you fall the fuck over.
So
And then the
bitter
animator
about...
forgot to animate him. So he disappeared.
So I'm already kind of slightly regretting the choice to play such an animated character in a gravelly voice.
Dude, yeah,
Well-
that's why I half the time didn't use a gravel voice when I played Izzy, the Nosferatu in the LA Anarchs game. I only use gravel at like the beginning and like at the
One
end
of the
stream
beautiful
of
things
the-
about Hiram, I just changed faces and don't have a gravelly voice anymore.
Can you do that with Obfuscate?
No, that was him doing voices.
Yeah, I think we've been playing that you can, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say Obfuscate doesn't technically.
Actually, it depends on how many dots you put into it,
Mhm.
or how many successes you get, because you can't get to the point where you completely emulate them, and part of emulation is voice.
Their voice, yes.
Like 5 successes is you emulate their personality traits.
5 is 100%. You can change gender, look like them, voice, and even personality. Like, if you've at least spent like 5 minutes, you picked up apparently enough to emulate it. I would say at 4, I think it's at 4 you can definitely do voice. 3 you could probably mock close enough. But someone with high perception might be like,
But with Hiram, like he wasn't like using obfuscate for the voice. He was just really good at voices. He was a con artist, and still is, presumably.
Yeah. Unfortunately, again, I made him sort of that.
That's what session 0 is for, though.
Yeah.
I like it too much, though. I was struggling so hard with the voice. I was like, I'll just try different things and we'll see what happens.
Actually, no. So, like, if you go back to, like, say, Philly 1, when I did Benedict, I had an idea for his voice, and he wasn't even supposed to be that important. I mean, I fell in love with him when I was writing him, but I was like, no one's probably going to care about this guy. He's probably going to fall to the wayside.
And Deckard.
And people, like, fucking fell in love with Benedict. I can still hear when I made weird noises with his voice in the first episode in my head. And, like, then I perfected his voice, and especially after everyone loved him. So I was like, alright, now I have Benedict's voice. Still, bothers my throat sometimes after a while because I'm not doing it in any kind of way that a person should do that with their vocal cords without knowing proper training to do stuff like that. And hell, even doing that with your vocal cords with training is bad anyway. I know far too many, like, death metal artists that had to quit because they were basically getting throat cancer.
So are we going to keep going without him?
Yeah.
Or are we...
Well, I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting closer to 1 anyway, so let's play a little bit more. Bjorn is enjoying his whiskey, his bourbon. Let's play a little bit more, have you guys chat a little more, get you to play with your voices, and then we'll wrap up. Last topic was Bjorn was kind of leading it back to the prince thing and the parades and all that.
I was definitely gonna, like the next thing I was gonna say is, I can't exactly fight them, but I am getting a tax break this year for paying for the police for the event.
Luther
Well,
kind of
that's
gives...
certainly good news.
Yeah, I guess that's something to be happy about. And he's just very interested in Rebecca. I don't mean to pry, but did Theo tell you what you're getting yourself into?
Not even a little bit. So help me out.
I mean, he told you what we are.
I mean, I'm assuming you know what we are, who we are.
Oh, she does.
Sure.
I believe, because...
Sure.
No, she absolutely does.
Okay. And I mean, this is more or less a meeting of people trying to protect the city from our type. And would you be one to help protect the city, or are you
Absolutely. I mean, first off,
Luther, you would know that there's also the concern about the werewolves and the quote-unquote nasty mages.
Who quotes them as nasty mages?
The dirty boys.
Me.
Dirty boys technocracy.
Them dirty boys.
Everything.
BOIS.
All right, so yeah, mages.
Yeah. For one, I love the city, and for two, it sounds like fun.
Out of curiosity, what is it you bring? What could you provide for the protection of the city? I think I have an idea, but...
Well, playing cards first.
Do you... This joke is silly. Let's...
I'm excellent at keeping people alive.
Well, I don't think we need to be kept alive.
Abraham's gonna like his face is gonna say, yeah, that tells me a lot, and I'm satisfied with that answer.
No, but the second he mentions it, or even like a small pause, she's gonna put her hand in front of her face and be like, "It's not, fuck."
But obviously, we do need to keep
animated.
Yeah, humans alive for evidence sake. We don't need whoever wants to come in to kill them, and obviously, there's the problem of other people of your sort, mages. I don't know the correct term.
Oh, I won't correct you. You're fine.
But I mean, as long as Theo obviously hasn't explained anything, but as long as you are willing to essentially put your life on the line, then it's okay with me.
Sure. Like I said, I'm really good at keeping people alive.
Actually, you know what? Because I have it, and I ask that question, I want to do another roll.
Feel free.
I want to go with the 4th level of Auspex.
Yo, for it.
What is that? I actually haven't.
That's mind reading.
That's
mind reading.
I haven't even read the damn thing.
Yeah,
Auspex.
Auspex is useful at 1, pretty cool at 2, interesting at 3. 4 goes into like what? Wait. You said Auspex 4?
Yes, Auspex 4 is mind reading.
It's telepathy, yeah.
Auspex 5 is Yeah. Isn't it? Can't I also see?
You can read 4 thoughts and talk. So go ahead and roll intelligence subterfuge. Against the target's willpower. So let me know who it is.
It's 8.
Okay.
Intelligence what? What was that? Subterfuge?
Yeah.
I have a non-zero chance at this.
That's why I always tell you guys, look at your disciplines first before you finalize your abilities.
Four.
Nice. I don't have the thing pulled up right now because of my favorite website being down. But that is definitely heavily able to see forefront thoughts. What are you looking for? Tell me that and I can tell you.
I'm seeing if I can pick up any more information because she's being a little bit vague. And I'm curious if maybe she's thinking with a little bit more clarity what she's not exactly saying, because I'm highly curious what it is she's capable of.
Hope, I'll need you to give him like a 75% true kind of concept of what's in your forefront brain.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, do you like go quiet when you do this, or is this like an instant sort of thing? Do I know that look in your eye?
Yeah, no, like she would be somewhat prepared for shenanigans on her.
Oh, that's totally cool.
So I want to know if there's anything she can roll afterwards, like after you get your result.
I mean, I know I have to spend a willpower because you are supernatural and are not necessarily willing. So there is a cost.
You can definitely, since you know where you are, roll anything about like a lower, like a 5 difficulty awareness roll to see if someone's peeking in. I will be doing my mage homework this week, so I don't seem so inept when I tell you to do things.
You're totally fine. So a 75% of true. I'm trying to conjure up, like, imagery of maybe past times where she would have maybe even just helped Theo or somebody to restore him. But I need permission from Theo on that. I mean, if we've gone on some Sedite shenanigans, is there a chance that she would have tried to heal you?
I would say maybe you haven't brought it up, but if Abraham reads that thought from your head, he will laugh out loud, knowing me. Well, probably laugh out. He would find that very hilarious.
No. So it's not a thought of hers to occur so much as, like, I'm trying to give him something that he would read, and if she's saying, I'm good at keeping people alive, she would probably remember
that one time that she helped Theo.
She would not have healed him at all. It's very difficult to distinguish damage at all on Theo, and he has a lot of fortitude, so he's okay.
Okay, well then, yeah. So then, the images that he would get instead are her working as a nurse and using magic to heal subtly, along with just nurse practices. As well as just the overwhelming, like, background buzz of boredom.
Hey guys, my internet has come back. Would you like me to rejoin Zoom? I just don't want to fuck with the overlay and everything.
Yeah, no, we'll probably be doing this for at least another 15 minutes. I can switch the cameras around in like a minute.
Fuck with
Okay, my internet restored itself, so I'll be jumping back in.
Now, regardless, so I don't actually know what it takes for him to read a mind, but like when he kind of gets that sense, he will be a little bit taken aback and kind of do the surprised face again. It's like, oh, wow. So like even weirder than the Tremere, which are freaking weird.
But like, aside from that, I do want to see if there is some kind of way that she can, I don't know, awareness, because he's in her head, and she if she didn't come prepared, she would at least be on edge enough to know that there might be some shenanigans going on tonight.
Oh no, I would have thoroughly warned you about the snake pit, not snake pit, he wouldn't use that term, he fucking hates Sedites. The lion's den that you're walking into, but also he was fully confident in your ability to hold your own among these people. Yeah. So like, he didn't say like, this person can do this.
Go. This is, I think, not V20, but, or am I on VTR? No, this is VTR. Yeah, this is VTM. It says intelligence plus composure to detect the but that's a VTR thing,
Composure is VTR.
Okay, so this is giving me some shenanigans.
It's lying to you.
It's not reference desk, that's what it is.
I know. Bring it back. I can't. I'll pay your domain costs, bro. It's $3 a year. I can do it. I swear.
No, so for future references, or for future reference, like if this were to happen again, she'd probably come in prepared with like a shield around her head. But like whatevs, this is
this is not canon.
Right? But yeah, I would love to roll like a perception awareness to see exactly what just happened. Is that chili beans, Spira?
Alright, it looks like everybody's back in place.
Hey.
Sorry, what was the question?
Is it okay if I roll a perception awareness?
Yeah.
3.
Alright, what were you looking for?
Like, especially I think even Graham, well, I mean, he immediately like showed a surprised face, and I just want to know if she can feel him having been inside her head.
Like fingers in brain meats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can she do something back?
What do you want to do?
She wants to link brains with him.
Okay. Explain that for me.
It is just a mental communicative link. They can exchange thoughts and ideas, and I have played it coincidental, at least with my old playgroup, because I mean no one can see that, or even however.
And I don't count as a witness.
I was gonna say we're all vampires, so it's all
like in general, like two people not talking doesn't look weird to anyone.
Yeah, go ahead for it.
So base difficulty 3 plus highest fear of 3 makes difficulty of 6.
While everyone's chatting, you're just gonna see me like doing this. Like just rubbing at my arm, and like you see the fold smoothing out, so it turns into a semi-normal dead arm again.
She is decidedly concentrating on Abraham at the moment.
John.
Dinah. I was gonna say Dinah and Luther don't seem too charmed.
Luther would make comments about it. He'd be like, "That is very pleasant, thank you."
You wish you could hide cards in your goddamn arms.
I don't cheat.
I want to feel like even with this mental link, I'm gonna say no, we don't.
Yeah, that's fine. It connects whenever Spira says it does, if it does.
That was good. So does that link just run for the rest of the scene?
It runs however long you want it to run.
I'm good for the scene. The scene's almost done anyway. Yeah, so you guys have gathered, had a little bit of a personal chat, had some fun, relax. Most of you, besides Theo, are looking at Rebecca thinking, not sure whether she's got actually something special going on for sure, if she's just a human who's good at playing cards and showing off that kind of cold reading nonsense. Dinah, you'll be a little more skeptical towards her being special though, since you got that Auspex rating. But all 6 of you sitting around the table realize, you still have this one question on your minds of, do you really want to fully work for the prince? How are you going to do it? And your own personal concerns for the city, besides what he says of watch and make sure it's secure. You've all heard from Rebecca that there are these forces, especially amongst the technocracy mages that leave you kind of feeling like you're not even sure the prince fully understands the problem.
So turning to Theo, but like just for a quick moment, she is going to say something to Abraham, and that is, this is better if it goes both ways, right? And then she is going to look to Theo and be like, so what exactly is the plan here? I don't...
The plan's simple, isn't it? It's what we always do. We come in here, we save the prince's ass. The prince, of course, is then owes us greatly, and we continue to run this city in the shadows. Well, the prince takes all that glory that he's so wanting. Yeah, we protect the city, of course. Well, any snot-nosed fucking Sabbat or Setite comes in here, technocrats, whatever you call them, we'll clean up, we'll preserve the kind of the city, we'll do whatever we need to, and in the end, we'll reap all the real power.
Theo's gonna put an arm on Bjorn's shoulder and in one of his more rare moments actually look kind of concerned and go straight back to smiling big, but only for a second. He looked like a little somber and concerned. Well, Bjorn, it's not just for the prince. I'm worried. I'm worried about the place we call home. And he's gonna motion over to Abraham and to Bjorn because he's let you guys
Y'all
you
call
guys have
home,
free reign on his
but
domain.
Sure.
Listen, the Setites, they've been pushing hard, and they want the voodoo, they want the hoodoo, they want the hoodoo, they want all of it.
Hoodoo?
I don't know why. Guess it's more... No, not now. Later we'll go for a walk. But they want a part of my territory. And it's in my interest to help the prince keep them off of his lawn, and he keeps them off of my lawn. As you know, I am not as loyal as they come, but he respects domain, so I respect his rule.
Theo, the children are getting uppity. That's all you're saying. Why should I be concerned about the goings-on of some children? We'll put them back in their place.
He's gonna motion over to
He didn't say it was going to be hard. Just that it needed to be done.
And I assume that's why you brought me here, Theo. You wanted something done.
The prince wants something done.
No,
I want help.
Theo, you want it done. I don't give two fucking shits what the prince wants. You want something done.
Help. I don't need a thing done. I'm asking for your help. You know I've worked so hard on my domain. And selfishly, I am asking you all, alongside helping the prince, let us look at all of New Orleans. It's not good for them to get in anywhere.
Theo, you've earned my... I'll, of course, absolutely do anything for you. You've more than earned that. But just know that I am doing this for you, and not the prince.
And that is why my friend is here, because also these fucking technocrats. Ugh, I have to deal with them as well. And she knows better. So she is here to help us fight a new enemy.
In the meanwhile, after I get the this works better both ways, doesn't it? I'm going to say, oh, you acquired the Swiss Army knife, yes? Mentally, of course.
Yeah, no. She'll just nod at him, like just.
Well, you have me sold.
Luther kind of looks at them weird, and then
Yeah. We're just kind of looking at each other.
Oh, okay. So okay.
No. Yeah,
I thought
I'm
you
not
said it
sneaking.
out loud.
She, like, I read her mind for a second. She's like, no, this is staying up.
You want in? You're fucking. You're in.
That's basically
We
what just
can
happened.
share. I'm fine with sharing.
Well, Theo, the prince had to win a bet with me to have me help with him, and same deal goes for you. If you have something to wager for my helpfulness in this ordeal.
What do you like?
Well, what do you have?
What do you want?
You just anything. What do I want?
I don't know.
Any kind of item of magical importance would be nice.
Oh, Uncle Theo, if you could supply the young gentleman with something.
Theo's gonna like crank his neck real hard and then just like stick his bony fingers like way back into his mouth, and you're just gonna hear a suction pop, and it's gonna pull out a silver tooth and put it on the table. I've had that. That's been back there for I think 180 years.
Appropriate reaction, Doggo.
A little bit.
If that's not magical, I don't know how I'm still not alive dead.
Don't accept that. It's been in his mouth for 180 years.
That's
That is
magic
perfect.
on its own.
This was back before they watered this shit down. That's pure silver.
We should call the
I ripped that
Inquisition.
out of a pirate
That needs to
face
be
myself.
purged.
Oh, I can sanitize it. I don't.
Luther,
Are we sure there's not a demon in it? We should bring a young priest and an old priest and a Hindu priest and probably go to Nepal for good reason.
No, I can sanitize it really quick if you'll allow me. Will you allow me, Bjorn?
There's no need. Luther will like pick it up and
Absolutely, no, do not worry about it. She'll just
And then
open
you
up
turn
the
into a
bottle of
Zibani.
bourbon and drop the silver tooth in it.
Yes. No, something of actual importance.
And now someone needs to drink this.
And without hesitation, Bjorn will kind of like grab the bottle and pull it and just be like, but this tooth is still in there.
It's your now.
Well, how else are you going to get the tooth out?
Fair enough.
Chris.
Well, I'm down 2 bottles of bourbon.
I'll
Three
cover
at
it.
this point, I think.
You
Now-
realize this isn't for you, right?
I'll cover it. Don't worry about it.
All right, you want something of? I have nothing of magical value, or maybe I do. I don't know. He's gonna look at the.
What does it mean to have magical value?
Oh, well, something of supernatural, something that is cursed, something that can cast a spell, something of.
I can talk to the fucking dead.
Okay,
Be more
then-
specific.
And this is all punctuated with Bjorn finishing the bottle, kind of making a weird look in his face and spitting the tooth out onto the table.
Then I will psychically say, what about the card that you made?
I'll
Do you
grab
want-
the
do you
tooth
want-
and
yeah,
start
yeah.
shoving it back in.
If you want the card, and yeah, I guess she'll just she will very annoyed pull out the thing of cards and kind of sift through and then take both ace of clubs because she doesn't know which one it is and then just give both.
All right. Well, and he'll turn towards the mage Rebecca. I will do this if we have a wager, and if you lose, I have your service for a month.
Okay, so I'm
No,
just
Rebecca.
help me out really quick because I am struggling to see how you helping your vampire prince means I need to dedicate my service to you even though I'm already helping of my own free will because I want to and I'm a good person.
Not the prince. I'm helping out Theo with this one.
May I remind you of the traditions, of which I am not that big of a fan. The prince, this is his city, and my domain lies within it. He is still prince of my domain. However, I rule my domain. I am asking merely as formality. But trust me, if you owe him something, you very likely owe at least 2 other people at this table something as well.
He kind of looks around, and then he kind of gives a look towards Dinah. God, that is such a hard name.
I think it's Dina.
It's Dina.
It's Dana.
It's
Diana.
It's actually
Dana.
Tina. She
Dana.
just messed up with the D.
Dana. Like
Dinah.
Like what's for dinner?
Yeah, what's for dinner? Hey.
Anyone that I owe a favor to was not asking me to put my life on the line to protect their borough or protection of land. What me and the prince have has already been settled by me helping him. Now, if you want my help, I was just saying maybe we can make a wager, and if you win, then I help you.
This is aside from what's already happening. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, he's saying he'll owe you a favor, honey.
I thought he said that if I lose, I have to be in his service for a month.
Yeah, that would be what you lose.
The gamble is a trade.
He owes you a favor. This is aside. This does not have anything to do with what we were talking about earlier. This is just him wanting to make a wager with you.
Oh, well, I'm not a gambler.
She's not a gambler, hun.
But how much gambling experience do you have?
She has
How many times have you gambled with a vampire?
She has gambled no times with any humans. She has not been to a casino.
So that's a new
adorable.
experience.
You just called us all humans.
So it's a new experience.
That's true, but like, dying is an experience. That doesn't mean that she wants it immediately.
Theo's gonna look kind of like visibly frustrated. Like, he's just gonna look kind of visibly frustrated, like rubbing his eye sockets. Just like, no respect these days. It's fine. It's fine. Bjorn can take on 12 men more than you could in half a goddamn minute.
So what's the game? What's the wager?
Well, we can make it easy. A flip of a coin. 50-50. No hard chances on this one.
Exactly. She doesn't have spheres for that.
Yeah, no, she doesn't.
If you guys don't mind, to keep things fair, if you will, I'll arbitrate and flip the coin, one of my own. And he'll reach in and pull a coin you guys have probably never seen before out, but with a very clearly distinctly marked heads and tails. That's why there's no subterfuge done on either side.
Unless, of course, you're chicken and you want to go run home scared.
What does being in your service entail? I don't like being dessert.
Maybe I'll ask you to find an item of semi-importance around the city. Nothing of danger or anything like that.
How about if you win, I make you an item that can detect anyone of your kind that it comes into contact with.
Wait. Oh. Deal.
Okay.
All right.
Spira, how do we want to resolve this?
Well, it's a 50-50 coin toss. Couldn't we just do
Just do a D2.
Yeah,
roll
exactly.
D2.
Or if
I
I
called
have a
it two.
silver $50, I could just flip it. But I don't know if you can see that.
You know what? I need to know if Hope and Charred are good with Elvish's luck in her hands.
I'm good.
It depends. Are you putting it on your hand or are you letting it fall?
You're not a real mage, Hope.
I can
I
let
just
it fall.
I want to call a thing, okay?
I can let it fall on the desk, and then I'll move my camera so you guys can see what it is.
If it falls on the desk, I call tails.
She gets to call it.
All right.
Are you good with this chart? All right.
Oh, yeah. All right.
All right. All right. All right.
What did I do? What is my channel now? What happened?
Watch us.
What is 2018?
We got this silver $50. freaking get it on my thumb, because I have to hold on push to talk. All right. Well,
Why did you leave her?
Welcome to StorytellerSpira, where we do random things at 1 a.m.
Why
on
did we
Eastern
send the
time.
worst coin flipper to do it?
I don't know if you can see that.
It's
That's
heads.
heads.
Heads!
Wait, did I win?
You won.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you won.
Luther, he's been sitting pretty docile the whole time, and this time he kind of jumps up and just starts like celebrating, just like yes.
As that happens, I'm going to pull a cell phone from somewhere that probably was in the pocket, and you'll see me texting.
Ew.
Well,
Don't worry, darling. They make them waterproof nowadays.
that was fun,
But
and
they don't make them Theo-proof.
Great.
Fair point.
Now that these things are settled, are we good?
Yeah, are we fine?
Our dear Rebecca knows her place in all of this, and Theo has made his request quite clear that I think we all understand what's going on in the city, and I'm pretty sure it's in all of our best interests in order to keep everything in check tonight. It's Mardi Gras, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Let's party. Let's make sure the kind party, and make sure no one parties too hard. It's a simple enough request. Though let's hope it's not like the Mardi Gras of 1972, because let me tell you about that.
Oh dear Lord, you are not wrong.
That was your fault, Bjorn.
Tell me about it.
He's absolutely not wrong. That was all you.
So, first of all, my friend escorted in at least a kilogram of cocaine.
Friend is a strong word.
We started down at this club.
Little mage, you don't live long enough for this. You'll die. Run now.
I'm pretty sure that it... Oh, God, what was it called? It was something like...
Bjorn, we're not all a
I can't remember. Anyways, there was this one bar that we were all hanging out with. My friend brought at least a kilogram of cocaine. The kind went crazy. And anyways, I'm probably
That was
boring
you.
with
I
this.
had to clean that mess up.
All right, my little ducklings. I want to thank you all so much for this session 0. It was really awesome. I really hope, and I think this helped you guys a bit with understanding your characters, directions, voice, personality, those little tiny bits that can sometimes seem elusive but are very important to finalizing how you would react in a given situation. Thank you to everybody who came out and watched live. As always, we love our Twitch viewers. You guys are the best. Everybody who watches on YouTube, you're also the best. That's not, incongruent. You're just all the best because you're the coolest. We would do this on our own, like we've said before, but it's so much cooler when you guys get involved and have fun watching and playing along with us. We will be back next Tuesday.
We'll be back on
Friday. Huh?
We'll be back on Friday.
We're going to be back on Friday.
Hey, can I finish?
No.
I was going to say vampires are going to be back next Tuesday with an official start of the game. This Friday, however, if I'm not interrupted, we will be starting another Session 0 game that will actually be a world building session for our upcoming D&D game, 5e campaign. Zibani will be our fantastic, amazing, lovely DM, and he's going to actually run us along and actually kind of let us set up a world of our own. We're going to make our own setting, so it's really, key to us. We actually basically have our PCs, but he's going to let us make the world special to us.
What time are we shooting for on Friday to start?
9:30 EST?
9:30
is what I
and,
was...
one
Okay,
thing
cool.
that I want to mention is the idea is to have the players build the world. But one reason we're streaming it is because any of the viewers who want to join in we will definitely, at the very least, take ideas into consideration. So you could also have an impact in the world that exists by being present on Friday.
Absolutely. Yep. Zibani was getting to an next point, but yes, no, we actually want you there because we might have questions. Do we make this a desert? Do we care about this? Do we want to do that? If you want to join that game session on Friday, we will probably actually ask you what you'd like to see, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, our basic schedule going forward is Tuesday, 9 p.m. EST, Friday, 9:30 EST, Vampire and D&D respectively, and yeah, we'll all see you going forward. In the Twitch description below, we've got our details for Discord, Twitter, and all those fun things, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to be updating everything soon. That'll have all of our other stuff going on. Check us out. Join our Discord. We talk about tabletops in general, and especially World of Darkness. Love to have you join us. And yeah, thanks for everyone who's followed us for this last year. We really love all of our crazy fans. They're cool people who hang out, ask us questions, really are involved. It's been so awesome to be involved in this community. And with that, I will say good night and goodbye.
Good night.
Hey guys.
Bye.
Night-night.